This is an important interconference game this afternoon. Working with me is a man who someday should be in the Hall of Fame in pro football, Paul Warfield, a great wide receiver, who right now is the assistant director of pro personnel for the Browns. You work for the Browns, but your job is to know talent around the league, Paul.
That's right. This Green Bay Packer football team is a good one. They've got Lynn Dickey, who's really over his physical problems and doing a great job. And also the Packers, I think, adjusting to their new 34 defense.
What about the Browns defense? They've come on.
Well, they really have come on. They're not really stopping people cold, but they're keeping people off the scoreboard, and that's important.
You know, one of the big questions for the Browns this week, who would play quarterback? Brian Sipe was hurt last week in Seattle, so Sam Rutigliano has had to make a decision. Go with Sipe, who may not be 100%, or rookie Paul McDonald for USC. He's made his decision. He told us about it just a short while ago.
Well, Dick, it's been a difficult problem for us all week because Brian obviously didn't work out Wednesday and Thursday, and Friday we had a torrential downpour, so he didn't get a chance to work. He worked yesterday, and he felt real good about it, and this morning I caucused with our doctors and Brian. He felt real good, and right now after the pregame warm-up, I think Brian Sipe's going to be our starter.
And so we're ready for the kickoff. Tom Burney will kick off for the Green Bay Packers. The deep men, Keith Wright, number 89, and Dino Hall, number 26. Diminutive Dino Hall at 5'7". The Packers in their green, the Browns in white, and we're underway on an overcast afternoon in Cleveland with the lights turned on here in the stadium. Dino Hall carries, and Hall finds his way past the 25-yard line, almost to the 30, and the stop is made by Mike McCoy. So the Browns are on offense, and Brian Sipe, indeed, is the quarterback, number 17. He is third in the AFC. He has thrown 10 touchdown passes. Running backs are Mike Pruitt, number 43, and Charles White, 25. A very fine offensive line for the Browns. They've allowed only 4 quarterback sacks all season, an NFL high. The backs and receivers, and they have tremendous firepower. First and 10 on the 35-yard line. Make it the 27-yard line. And Sipe gives to the second back through Pruitt, who broke a tackle, and Mike Pruitt gets up to the 35, short of a first down. The tackle made by Ezra Johnson, number 90, the right defensive end. Well, they like to establish the running game, Paul, and that's what the Browns are trying to do here.
Well, the offense works a lot better when Mike Pruitt is running real well. And last week, Mike ran over 100 yards for the first time in the season against Seattle. Passing game fell in their hand. And so what the Browns want to do is try to coordinate both the running and the passing game. You won't see Brian Sipe sit on it.
Second and 3 at the 35-yard line. In motion comes Reggie Rucker out of the I formation. Charles White does not get but a yard or two, maybe to the 37. Ed O'Neill, the linebacker, makes the stop. Charles White from USC has had a bit of a problem adjusting to the pro style after playing out of the I at USC. As you look at the Packers' 3-4 defense, and their linebackers, particularly Mike Douglas, number 53, has been outstanding. The secondary, and they've been playing together for a couple of years. Estes Hood, of course, took over for Willie Buchanan last year. And now the Browns, on 3rd and 1, have 2 tight ends, Ossie Newsome and number 84, McDonald Oden, a free agent rookie. 3rd and 1 at the 37. Pruitt going wide. And a tremendous play by number 21, Mike Jolly, and Johnny Gray combining to make the stop, and good forcing from the secondary for the Packers.
Well, that's the thing that you have to have on short yardage defensive play. Mike Jolly came up from his safety position. He's a hard-hitting kid from the University of Michigan. Did a very fine job of stopping a tough running back in Mike Pruitt.
So Johnny Evans, who has not pleased the Browns, he's been a great practice kicker, and you can see Mike Cassidy is deep at the 25-yard line. Evans has been terrific in practice, but when the games start, not too good. But he gets off a pretty good punt there. And Cassidy is back at the 21 after a bobble and is hemmed in. So you got to credit the Green Bay Packers defense as Dino Hall on special teams makes the stop. 48-yard kick, no return. And coaches drool over that, Paul. And now the Packers go on offense.
As you said, Dick, Johnny Evans hasn't been kicking very well, but that time he got off a fine punt, good hang time, good coverage by the Browns. By the Browns specialty teams.
Lynn Dickey, number 12, is the quarterback. 418 yards last week passing, completed 35. There's the offensive line. Larry McCarron in his 8th year is the senior member there. First and 10 at the 25 will run down the rest of the Packers offense for you after this play. Under Thompson in motion, number 89. Eddie Lee Ivory gets about a yard. Ivory teams with Jerry Ellis, number 31 in the backfield. Thompson, number 89, has James Lofton, number 80, with him, and Lofton is something to see, as well as Ivory. Eddie Lee Ivory had a tremendous first quarter in his rookie year against the Chicago Bears. As you look at the backs and receivers, was hurt, had a banged up knee, and had a tremendous week last week, 202 total yards. There's Dickey's numbers so far. 2nd and 9 at the 26. John Thompson, number 83, is in as a third wide receiver, and Jerry Ellis, a little second effort to the 31. It'll be 3rd and about 4 with Marshall Harris, number 90, making the stop, and it could be a passing situation for Green Bay now. Let's run down the Browns defensively for you. They have gone to the 3-4 this year. They tried it out a bit last season, but this is their 3-4, and great stories. Alzado, of course, is the stabilizer, but Henry Bradley and Marshall Harris are young ones, and they also have some others behind them. The 4 linebackers. Robert L. Jackson is not in there, and Elvis Franks becomes a 4th down lineman as you look at the secondary for Cleveland. 3rd and 4 at the 31. Ellis and Middleton, number 34, in the backfield. Now Eddie Lee Ivory checks back in, and on a draw, Ellis has a first down for the Packers to the 41-yard line.
Fine call by Lynn Dickey, drawing the defensive team of the Browns in. There's a good block provided there by number 69, Leotis Harris, that springs Ellis into the secondary. Tom Darden has to come up from his safety position. That's a big back, and he doesn't like to make too many tackles like that in the open field.
So the free agent rookie Ellis, who was a final cut by the Rams and has been a starter since the LA game for the Packers, has a first down at the 42. In motion is the tight end Paul Coffey. And Eddie Lee Ivory trying to go wide. He has Darryl Goforth blocking for him, but the Browns come up and limit it to maybe a gain of a yard or 2. And a good play by Dick Ambrose, number 52, and he always seems to be in the right place at the right time, Paul.
Well, Dick Ambrose has led the Browns in tackles for the last couple of years. He's a very active linebacker, flows well laterally or across the line of scrimmage, and he's going to be around the ball all afternoon.
Just under 5 minutes gone by here in the first quarter. No score here at Cleveland Stadium. This is the first time the Packers have played in Cleveland since 1972. They won that game and went on to finish 10-4, winning the NFC Central. 2nd and 9. Kaufman again in motion. Dickey finds Lofton, and Lofton has a first down at the 45-yard line of the Browns. And Clinton Burrell, second year from LSU, made the stop, and this is a Paul Warfield kind of pattern.
Well, James Lofton is a very fine receiver. Lynn Dickey throwing the straight out. Dickey has an excellent arm. Lofton, a guy that you've got to give a lot of room. Clint Burrell respecting that speed.
And he's getting that protection up front, Paul.
And Lyle Alzado finding it very difficult to get there. He's still fighting, though. He'll be fighting all afternoon.
Packers controlling the ball as they did against Tampa Bay, though they managed at best a tie. 1st and 10 at the Browns 45. The pitch to Jerry Ellis. He's hemmed in and thrown for a 3 or 4 yard loss. And forcing the play was Marshall Harris, along with the nose tackle Henry Bradley. Interesting story about number 90, Marshall Harris. He was an 8th round draft choice by the Jets. Walked out of camp because he wanted to pursue an art career. Then the Jets didn't want him when he wanted to come back. The Browns welcome him with open arms.
Kind of 2 interesting stories there. Henry Bradley was on the Browns roster last year. He was cut from the squad, stuck around town, driving a truck to sort of eke out a living, was called back to the team late last year. This year, he won a job as the nose tackle.
Loss of 2, 2nd and 12 at the 47. Kaufman in motion, a fake draw, and a trick play, and a good catch by Jerry Ellis. Ellis is tackled after picking up about 8 yards. Robert L. Jackson, number 56, the left inside linebacker, makes the play. As you look at Lynn Dickey, who was out almost 2 years with a broken leg, and his comeback is terrific, and Bart Starr has had confidence in him all along, apparently.
He's throwing the ball right now for about 70% of his passes completed, and Dickey's doing a fine job. That time he set up a fake screen to the left, double screen to the right, almost broke all the way. Dick Ambrose slowed him up a little bit.
5 defensive backs for the Browns. Ron Cassidy, number 88, comes in as a 3rd wide receiver for the Packers on a 3rd and 7 at the 42 of Cleveland. Here's a rush. They got him. They blitz. The Browns blitzing linebackers. Dumps Lynn Dickey back to midfield, and all of them came in. Henry Bradley might get credit for that sack, and it'll be fourth in a punting situation.
Well, a gambling situation here, but that time it played off. They're running an X on the inside.
So fourth down, and David Beverly will kick from his 35, and Keith Wright, number 89. Beverly, who is a 7-year veteran, originally a free agent pick. He had his best year last season, and there is Keith Wright, who has tremendous instincts in running back kicks, Paul.
Great feel for returning kicks. Not the fastest guy in the world, but somehow, some way, he makes things happen.
Wright at the sideline, can't turn it in, and he's forced out of bounds. Jim Gano is chasing him along with Paul Kaufman. Dick Stockton and Paul Warfield here. First quarter, overcast but pleasant in Cleveland. Brian Sipe has the Browns at the 19, first and 10. Sipe going to the air. He won't look for Logan, can't find him, and dumps it off to Mike Pruitt. And Pruitt is down at the 28-yard line after an 8-yard pickup. John Anderson, the left outside linebacker, makes the stop on Pruitt, who perhaps is not as good a receiver as he is a runner.
Well, you're absolutely right. He's a better runner, a big, powerful guy. Kind of short and stocky, though, and he's sort of a load once he gets going.
He's got shorter fingers, and that, I think, can hurt him as far as pass receiver.
Well, he's worked real hard on his catching ability and has improved, but he's not the kind of receiver that Charles White or Greg Pruitt is.
White now is the tail back in the eye. It is 2nd and 1 at the 28, and it's Charles White up the middle. Has a first down beyond the 30. Kurt Allerman and Ed O'Neill combined to make the stop. The Packers, of course, added 2 veterans, Allerman and O'Neill. Both, of course, played at Penn State. Allerman had played with the Cardinals, O'Neill with the Detroit Lions. And the rookie from USC has given the Browns a first down at the 31.
Well, Charles White has stepped into that spot where Greg Pruitt played in previous years. Pruitt slow coming back from the knee injury. White has done a pretty good job thus far, and each ball game that passes along, he's improving much more.
Reggie Rucker, number 33, wide to the right. Logan, 85, to the left. The rush is on Sipe, and he won't get away. So for a club that has allowed only 4 quarterback sacks, the Green Bay Packers have impressed here, and they had everyone coming in, including strong safety Steve Luke, who ultimately made the tackle.
Well, this is what you got to do against Brian Sipe. You know that he doesn't have the mobility today, and the Packers are coming after him early. There's number 46, Steve Luke, coming up from his strong safety position, and a lot of other Packers. Luke finally comes down with the Sipe and does a good job of bringing him down.
Don't forget, the Browns know that they have the Steelers coming in next week and a chance to tie for the division with a win, and Sipe not 100% getting the call. 2nd and 17 at the 24. Mike Pruitt off tackle to the 27-yard line. It'll be 3rd and about 13, and Mike Lewis, who's playing nose tackle, makes the stop. You talk to John Meyer, the Green Bay Packers defensive guru, and everything in this game, as you remember, is down and distance. You know, if you have 2nd and 1, you have things going your way. 2nd and 17, different story.
Absolutely right. Brian has not enjoyed great field position. The least thing that he wants to do right now, I think, is create a turnover.
Time really flying in this first quarter. We have 5:05 remaining, no score, and a 3rd and 14 for Brian Sipe. He's got some protection, and Sipe is looking for number 82, Ossie Newsome, the tight end. And Newsome, who could just as easily be a wide receiver at 6'2", 232 in great speed, has the reception and a first down. Johnny Gray makes the stop, and he had time, Paul.
Precisely. Brian had the time to do what he wanted to do, go to Ossie Newsome running the corner. Ossie gives another dimension to the Browns' offensive attack.
On this 23-yard pickup, look at the offensive line protection. Tom DeLeon, the center. Joe DeLamielleure, an all-pro, has established himself on this Brown offensive line. 1st and 10 at the Green Bay 49. Ricky Feature, 83, has replaced Dave Logan at wide receiver for Cleveland. Sipe again in the pocket, going for Rucker, overthrows him. Rucker was banged up a bit, had muscle spasms in his back during the week, but he said he was all right. Incompletion, 2nd and 10 at the 49.
Rucker did not work out all week, but he seemed to be ready. He's the kind of player, he's a veteran player, he's been through a lot, so you expect him to be ready on Sunday. That time, the Packers sent Steve Luke again on the blitz, and so they're showing you that they're coming after Bryant early in the ball game, and they're going to try to disrupt his rhythm.
So Brian Sipe, 28 touchdown passes last year, 3,700 yards. Hurt his knee on a freak play with 3 minutes to go last week. Dave Logan back in wide receiver, and Sipe almost tripped going back. And he's got time, not much, as he dumps it off. And no penalty marker thrown as Ezra Johnson, number 90, first-round draft pick in his 4th year from Morris Brown, finally got to Bryant.
Well, that time, Bryant looked like he was looking downfield for Ozzie Newsome. The linemen were dropping back. Newsome was jammed inside, fell to the ground, did not get out into the pattern. Bryant was left holding the football, didn't have the good mobility he's had in the past, and so he was thrown for the sack.
Sipe is now 2 for 4 for 32 yards. It'll be 3rd and 10 at the Packer 49. Charles White has Delamolier blocking, but forcing the play. Coming up from the secondary is Steve Luke, and Green Bay's secondary has been exemplary so far.
Well, they're a good, hard-hitting group with Steve Luke back there at the strong safety. Also, Johnny Gray, number 24. They call them the Hit Brothers back there, and I guess they do a fine job of supporting on the runs, and Steve Luke showed you why just on that play.
Johnny Evans will punt. He can also play quarterback, and one of the things that rankles him, he wishes he could play quarterback a little bit, not on this club, as you saw Cassidy standing at the 12-yard line. A line drive end-over-end kick, and Cassidy is just going to let it drop. It takes a Cleveland roll inside the 20-yard line. So neither club has threatened thus far. With 3 minutes and 50 seconds remaining in the first quarter, it was a 34-yard punt and no return. Miami's leading Buffalo 7-0, and Washington over St. Louis 7-0. First quarter scores around the NFL. The Packers at the 17, 1st and 10, with 3:50 remaining in the first quarter here in Cleveland. Paul Kaufman is in motion, and the give is to Jerry Ellis, and Ellis was first tripped up by Clay Matthews, number 57. Matthews, a finesse linebacker from USC, a number 1 draft choice. The 3-4 defense, Marty Schottenheimer's done a fine job for the Browns, and they went to the 3-4 not for the running plays, but for the pass plays on the idea of blitzing more.
Idea of blitzing more, but also to give Robert L. Jackson, who was number 1 choice a few years back, a chance to play. Outstanding player.
Good. 2nd and 7 at the 20. John Thompson, 83, a 3rd wide receiver, and this time the catch is made by Andre Thompson at open field for Thompson, and they catch up with him at the 39-yard line of Cleveland. So the short pass, which has been the one thing the Browns have not been able to stop too well this year, and Dickey with the quick release found Andre Thompson, who caught 7 last week, and a big gainer into Cleveland territory.
Well, Dickey's looking all the way for Andre Thompson. He gets by the linebacker, Dick Ambrose, there, and watch him do a nifty bit of running as he turns Ron Bolton completely around. Thompson, a fine running back out of college, makes a big gainer before Tom Darden and his friends stop him.
Well, he was originally a running back, and a 43-yard gain, and the Packers, with the big play so far, have a 1st and 10 at the 37-yard line of the Browns. Play action for Dickey, and Dickey going. It was intended for Lofton, and it's picked off. Tom Darden. And just a plain old bad pass, and maybe they got the route mixed up because Lofton was open, and it was thrown way past him. And the interception by Tom Darden.
Well, Dickey takes this play action pass. He's looking for Lofton all the way, but he throws more of a post, and Lofton runs a square in. Tom Darden is sitting right back on the post, reading that action all the way.
First and 10 now, the Browns at the 33-yard line. 2:18 remaining in the first quarter as Reggie Rucker comes in motion. No score. Mike Pruitt tries to go up the middle and hits a stone wall. That interception by Tom Darden was his first of the year, but more significantly, it is his 41st, and he has now set a Cleveland Browns record for career interceptions, and he was tied with the late Warren Lahr with 40 before he picked that one off.
Tom Darden has really done an outstanding job in the secondary. He's a real ball hawk. You usually see him right around the ball. He plays the quarterback's eyes very well.
Gain of 1, 2nd and 9 at the 34. The Packers have played superbly on defense thus far. No score, 1:40 remaining in the first quarter. Sipe on a play action, and he freezes the backers long enough to complete a pass to Mike Pruitt, and a first down short of midfield. Mike Douglas, the linebacker, defending. It's tough to defend against Pruitt.
Well, it's kind of tough to defend against him, not because he's such a great pass receiver, but simply because he's got great speed and deceptive speed. He's a big-looking guy, but he's got 4.5 speed for the 40, and he can get out in the flats real well. That's Mike Douglas, number 53, fine linebacker, riding him out of bounds.
How's Greg Pruitt's situation?
Well, Greg Pruitt is being used in spot situations. He is not completely recovered from that knee injury, but we'll see him during the course of the afternoon, I'm sure.
The Browns have the ball at their own 48, 1st and 10. And the pitch goes to Charles White, and White, and a second effort to the 47-yard line. A good 5 or 6 yard gain.
The big thing that Charles White has added to this attack is not only has he come and he started as a rookie player, but he's proven to be quite adept at coming out of the backfield and catching passes, and seems to have a knack for making the first tackler miss him all the time.
We have 1 minute remaining, first quarter, no score, and Reggie Rucker, as you look at Charles White in the tailback spot, both Rucker and Logan are split to the left. 2nd and 4. Up the middle, Pruitt fumble, and Sipe might have gotten to it, and he did. Brian Sipe just got there before 3 green shirts were ready to pounce on the ball.
That takes a little bit of courage, because there's some awfully big guys in that Green Bay center of the line.
The Browns at the Packers 48, make it 3rd and 5. Sipe. Complete to Ozzie Newsome. An 8-second show. Newsome has a first down. And the Browns maintain possession as Johnny Gray, the free safety, who started the very first game of his rookie year. And Ozzie Newsome, as we mentioned, could be a flanker, good wide receiver threat, makes that play, and it's a first down at the 41. Washington now leading the Cardinals 10-0 in the first quarter. Mark Mosley, a 30-yard field goal. Redskins have had their troubles thus far. 1st and 10 at the 41. Rucker comes toward the line. Is Charles White. Hits a stone wall, picks up 2 yards. Ed O'Neill was there and a few of his friends, and that'll do it for the first quarter. So they've gone back and forth, and both teams' defenses have played well. Beleaguered Bart Starr on the left, the Packers coach, who breathing a bit easier these days, and Sam Rutigliano, whose greatest asset is the fact that he's low-key. He doesn't go too high or too low, keeps an even keel, and that's important in the game. You know that.
Very important for a coach to be the same kind of individual week in and week out. That is exactly the way Sam is. He's not given to high-strung moments or low periods.
Greg Pruitt, number 34, is teamed with Mike, number 43, in the backfield as Logan goes wide right. 2nd and 8 at the 39. We start the second quarter. Brian Sipe looking down, has some time. Sipe is going for Ozzie Newsome, who makes a terrific catch. And now they say he did not have control. Ozzie Newsome did not hold on to it when he came down, and it'll be an interception as Steve Luke and Johnny Gray were covering on the play.
Well, Sipe wants to go for it all right here, and he's looking for Ozzie Newsome. He looks off to the right, throws to Ozzie, almost makes the great catch. Here Ozzie has it. As you see him hit, he sort of loses it right at that point on the ground.
And you got to come down with it. That's the rule. It's not so much holding it in the air. When you come down, you better have it in possession. He did not. So it's incomplete, 3rd and 8. Dick Stockton and Paul Warfield in a scoreless battle here on the shores of Lake Erie, Cleveland Stadium, with upwards of 70,000 fans. 3rd and 8 now at the 39 for the Browns. We have not come close to a score in this one. Sipe getting pressure, trying to move away, and he's going to run for it. He'll have a first down, and if he's smart, will go out of bounds. But no, he's tackled inside the 20. Brian Sipe, showing no ill effects of that knee sprain, has run for the first down before Mike Douglas caught up with him. A play of 24 yards, and now the Browns have the best scoring opportunity.
Well, here's where Sipe's really dangerous. He's got a feel for what's happening in the pocket. He slides up. He looks downfield. At this point, he's still a threat to throw, but he's going on the run all the way. He's got Joe DeLamalure, not a bad fellow to have out in front of him, and picks up a couple of extra yards.
And Sam Rutigliano on the sideline, and he's saying, I picked this guy over McDonald today, and he was holding his breath. 1st and 10 at the 15. And it's Mike Pruitt. Make it Greg Pruitt, sorry. And he's thrown for a loss. Couldn't get outside, and credit the Packers defense. Linebacker John Anderson. Loss of 2, 2nd and 12 at the 17. Ricky Feature, number 83, in at wide receiver. Logan gets a rest. Sipe on a draw play, and a great play by Mike Butler, number 77, as he put the hug on Mike Pruitt right away. Mike Butler, starter since the opening game of his rookie year, just shut that running play off.
All right, here's a ground level shot. Smart call by Brian Sipe. Fools everybody except number 77, Mike Butler, who does an excellent job and goes solo on that particular tackle. Mike Butler, big man, has 4 sacks on the year, doing a fine job on the defensive front for Green Bay.
Had a great year in '78 with 12 sacks. He's got good strength and quickness. A big showdown in the NFC East. Dallas leading Philadelphia 7-0. 3rd and 13 on the 18-yard line, and a penalty marker is down. Penalty marker down, and now we have some tempers flaring. Tom DeLeon just took a shot, I think, from Ed O'Neill.
Right, he did.
DeLeon and O'Neill, let's pick it up.
63, false start offense.
Cody Risen called for a false start on offense. Gene Barth, the referee. So that will set him back now. Let's see if we can pick it up at the line. Look for Risen, number 63. Let's see.
Well, we see that Tom DeLeon, 54, fires a little shove, and
Mike Lewis,
number 66. That kind of extracurricular activity could get either side penalized.
3rd and 18 at the 23-yard line. Third and 18. Brian Sipe has time. He's going for Logan, and it's incomplete, out of bounds. There was jockeying there between Mike McCoy and Dave Logan, and the official was right there with it. It'll go as incomplete, and now Don Cockcroft will come in the game to attempt a field goal. Another
Sipe
look.
likes to go in this situation to Dave Logan. He's 6'4", big, strong receiver, can go up and get the ball, but that time, number 29, Mike McCoy, was right with him step for step, and although a few inches shorter, did just a fine job of shutting Dave Logan off.
The attempt will be from the 31. Let's call it a 40-yard attempt. And Cockcroft is a perfect 2 for 2, though overall this year he's 6 for 10. Don Cockcroft straight down the middle. It's good. So Cockcroft, who has had all sorts of ailments this year, from his back to his hip to his ankle. So Don Cockcroft, who just kicked a 41-yard field goal, is kicking off right now to Mark Lee, a rookie from the University of Washington and a superb returner in college. And Lee, showing some of those moves, brings it out past the 25-yard line. Mark Lee from the University of Washington. Tackle made by Keith Wright for the Browns. So the Packers go on offense after the Browns scored on the field goal, 67 yards in 12 plays. And the drive was nearly 5 minutes in length. And we have a penalty marker down right now, and a penalty apparently against Green Bay. They'll mark it off. That's a tough hole to start out of, Paul.
It is. The Packers have enjoyed pretty much good field position here in the first half. This time they'll be backed up inside their 10-yard line.
Personal foul, clipping on the run back, number 53, first down.
It was Mike Douglas who was clipping, and so now the Packers open up back on their 10-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10. The Browns lead at 3-0. We've just gone through 3 minutes here of this second quarter. Lynn Dickey, 6'4", 10th year, and the give is to Eddie Lee Ivory, who gets past the 10 to about the 13 before Marshall Harris makes the tackle for the white-shirted Cleveland Browns. So there's Eddie Lee Ivory, who was the #1 draft pick last year out of Georgia Tech. Last week, 74 yards rushing against Tampa Bay, and he caught 11 passes for 128 yards, his best day as a pro. He'll have more.
He certainly will. He's good looking back, great speed. Had the knee injury last year, as you said, Dick, but it seems like he's fully recovered. For the first time last week, he said like things were really starting to come together.
2nd and 7 at the 13. Undra Thompson, 89, and Lofton, 80 are wide right, and now Lofton goes in motion. He has time, and Lofton holds on to it. Penalty marker down as he makes the reception at the 18-yard line, but the flag is down. Clarence Scott, number 22, converted cornerback, now playing strong safety, was covering Lofton on the play. And we have defensive holding against the Browns. That'll be an automatic first down for the Packers.
Officials talking it over with Lynn Dickey. That time the Packers sent James Lofton in motion from right to left. It's a good way to get him isolated and get a man-for-man coverage from the Cleveland Browns. You can bet your bottom dollar that the Browns will be giving Lofton a lot of attention this afternoon, and certainly he merits it.
Number 56, defense, first down.
Robert L. Jackson, the linebacker, was called holding downfield. It'll be a 1st and 10 now for the Packers at the 18. And you have to say one thing, Green Bay had all those problems, and people said they're the worst team in the NFL, and they are certainly not that at 2-3-1 coming into this game, trailing here 3-0. Kaufman, the tight end, in motion. Play action pass, swings it around to Eddie Lee. Eddie Lee cuts into the 25, and Ivory has a first down. It was Robert L. Jackson who makes the stop, and you saw a little bit of Eddie Lee Ivory cutting in some of the great moves he showed. Watch Jackson's pursuit.
Robert Jackson, he's coming onto his own in the 34, pursuing well laterally across the field. He's been a big hitter for the Browns all year. Eddie Lee Ivory got a good block from Leotis Harris on cornerback Ron Bolton on that play to spring him inside before Robert Jackson made the hit.
Under Thompson, wide right as you look at Dickey coming up to the line. He came over to the Packers from the Houston Oilers in 1976 in a trade. Ivory again up the middle, gets perhaps a couple. The New York Jets against the Seattle Seahawks in a game at Shea Stadium in New York this afternoon. Seattle leading at 3-0. The Packers with 569 yards against Tampa Bay was the most they've picked up since they chalked up amazing 628 against the Eagles back in '62, 32 first downs. So they're moving the ball, but the question is they're not getting the points.
That's right. They're doing what old Green Bay teams have done in the past. That is ball control. But you're right, Dick. They've got to put points on the scoreboard.
Lofton in motion. 2nd and 8 at the 32. Dickey has the time. Ellis drops it finally. Jerry Ellis. And that was a tough play all the way around. He kind of tried to just dump it off and over a defender.
Well, Dickey looked like he was going for Lofton again, who had started in motion from left to right going across the screen. Couldn't quite find Lofton. There's Lofton. He's going to cut into the sidelines. Does not have very much room to work with. Ron Bolton moving up on him. Dickey pulls up, drops the ball to number 31, Gary Ellis, and saves possibly another interception.
3 wide receivers for the Packers as Cassidy, number 88, comes in, and 4 down linemen for the Browns who show blitz. And they don't. And Eddie Lee Ivory is piled at the line of scrimmage. And a great play by Henry Bradley, the nose tackle. As you mentioned, Bradley, who drove a truck after he was cut, hung in there and finally came back to show what he could do. Look at this play.
Well, he's doing a little bit of truck driving right there on a pretty good back and makes a big play for the Browns as they stop the Packers in this situation.
Henry Bradley, the nose tackle. And now you're looking deep as Keith Wright for the Browns at the 30-yard line. Dave Beverly will punt for the Packers. Dickey now is 4 for 6 for 72 yards and 1 interception. Wright back at the 26. Still on his feet. And finally brought down by number 62, Buddy Adelette from the University of Alabama. We have 9 minutes and 13 seconds remaining in the first half. The Browns lead at 3-0 on Cockrock's 41-yard field goal early in the second quarter. Dick Stockton with Paul Warfield, who's a magician on this very turf for the Cleveland Browns for many years and then later with the Dolphins. Mike Pruitt, number 43, and Greg Pruitt, 34, are the setbacks for Cleveland. And it goes to Mike. Barrels up the middle to the 36-yard line. Charles Johnson, the nose tackle, number 99, makes the stop. As you know, the Packers had a problem. They did not sign Bruce Clark, their number 1 draft choice out of Penn State. They wanted him to play nose tackle, and of course, he wasn't happy with that. They had problems with his agent. He went up to play in Canada. And John Meyer, the Packers coaching staff, said you're going to see a little bit of George Cumbie today, who was also taken on the number 1 round. Cumbie from Oklahoma. Fine pass defender and a good man for the Packers for the future. 2nd and 6 at the 37. Sipe deflected and incomplete. Let's see who made the deflection on the pass intended for Ozzie Newsome. John Anderson, the linebacker, got good penetration, and tempers flare up again.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be that kind of afternoon. These two teams haven't played one another in a long time, and it used to be sort of a traditional rivalry when there was the old NFL.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, 99 defense, offsetting fouls.
Charles Johnson and Robert E. Jackson, I believe, have been called for unsportsmanlike conduct, offsetting personal fouls, which is really a message there, I guess, from Gene Barth. Let's have enough of that.
Well, the officials are saying, hey, gentlemen, this thing is not going to get out of hand here today, and so he's setting the tone right now.
It'll be 3rd and 6 at the 37-yard line. The Packers have 5 defensive backs in there now with 2 linebackers. 3rd and 6 for Brian Sipe. Sipe has time, and it's batted up in the air, and I think it might have been Mike Lewis, who came in as a 4th down lineman for the Packers, the 11-year vet from Arkansas A&M. And they've been managing to get a hand on some of Brian Sipe's passes in this series.
Well, Sipe wanted to go underneath in the coverage that time. He was looking for Greg Pruitt, who swung out of the backfield on the right. He hung with Greg all the way, tried to dump the ball to him, could not get it over the outstretched defensive lineman's hands.
Evans doing a little bit better today than he has all season. Will punt from his 20-yard line, and Ron Cassidy will be deep for the Packers at his 30. There's Cassidy. And the rush is on, and a good kick by Evans. And the ball takes a Cleveland bounce, and it's going to be inside the 10-yard line where it's down right there. And so Evans is surprising a lot of people this afternoon. A 56-yard punt, and once again the Green Bay Packers have not been able to get good field position today. That's our score with 8 minutes and 16 seconds remaining in the first half, as the Packers now have a new set of backs. Turdell Middleton, number 34, who scored his first touchdown of the year against Tampa Bay last week, and Steve Atkins, number 32, second year from Maryland, in the backfield now. Lynn Dickey on his own 8-yard line. And the call goes to Atkins, who gets a couple, and that's all, before Marshall Harris stops him. Atkins had his best game against the Cincinnati Bengals, and perhaps finally is learning how good he can be. He was switched from halfback to fullback this year.
Fine running back. He's got good speed, big, strong guy, and so it's just a matter of finding yourself, and it takes a little bit of time for young backs to get the feel of running in professional football and following their blockers, and I think that he's starting to come into his own.
Picked up 3, 2nd and 7, the ball at the 11 now. In motion comes Undra Thompson, number 89. Turdell Middleton piled up again, and the Browns are hungry. Charlie Hall, the veteran linebacker in his 10th year, makes the stop on Middleton, who 78 gained over 1,000 yards, and this is an aroused Browns defense, Paul.
Good defense, playing better and more coordinated defense every week. Number 59 there, Charlie Hall, the old pro of the group, has been here for 10 years, plays flow play real well, does a great job.
Elvis Franks, number 94, 5th-round rookie from Morgan State, comes in as a 4th down lineman as Robert L. Jackson comes out. And the Packers have Thompson wide right, and Lofton way over to the left side. 3rd and 7 at the 11, a running play. Steve Atkins won't go anywhere, and it'll be 4th down, and now the Browns are looking for possible Sterling field position as Atkins has stopped Clinton Burrell coming up from his cornerback position.
Well, defense did the job right there, and the Browns are trying to create some momentum. Sometimes that's what it takes. Good, inspired defensive play that can go in there and stop an offense cold. That time the defense did the job.
Philadelphia on the board, as you saw there. 7-3, Dallas leading, and Dave Beverly will kick from his goal line, and Keith Wright, who has been outstanding as a returner this year, will be at the 45. Buddy Adelette, the rookie from Alabama, on the snap. Good kick by Beverly. Couldn't ask for a better one. And Wright is back inside the 35. He's hemmed in, going nowhere. And once again, the Packers with superb kick coverage. Mike Jolly makes the tackle. And I'll tell you, Dave Beverly got him out of a tough situation right there.
Certainly did. It was a very fine punt.
Back in Cleveland Stadium, the Browns lost their opener to New England, then lost to Houston. Thought they were in trouble, but came back with wins over Kansas City and Tampa Bay. Lost a heartbreaker to Denver here, 1916, before their impressive victory over Seattle. So they're 3-3 on the year, and Brian Sipe starting out on his 38, has time, and this pass is complete. Calvin Hill in the lineup, number 35, covered by John Anderson. And an interesting story with Calvin Hill, no longer an effective runner, but he finds the opening somehow, some way, and has been outstanding pass receiver.
Certainly does.
We're going to see the blocking here on Johnson. DeLeon, the center.
Well, that's Tom DeLeon right in there, and he's getting a little help from number 65. Henry Shepard, and when you play the nose, that's what you got to look for. You're going to be double teamed, you're going to be triple teamed at times. People are going to be throwing at your legs. It's just really a tough job to play.
DeLeon, Cincinnati, Houston, Atlanta. They didn't want him. In '74, he came to the Browns and has started at center here. 2nd and 8 at the 40, and the pass goes out to Mike Pruitt. Pruitt turning the corner, still on his feet, and he's knocked out of bounds at midfield. A Cleveland first down. Estes Hood, number 38, the left cornerback, finally drove him out, and Pruitt tiptoed down that sideline effectively.
Well, here again, the big man can show you his speed. His sight just dumps him the little pass out in the flat and watch him run to the corner, get by 56 Ed O'Neill, and then levels a nice big blow at number 38, Estes Hood. You know, Estes Hood and a lot of these little guys don't want to get in the way of a big guy like that.
Hood at 5'11", 180, you're right. First down for the Browns at midfield. Brian Sipe, 12 for 24 last week for 211 yards. He is in his 7th year, was a 13th round draft choice. He lost his footing, completes it to Logan, who tries to cut inside. They get to the 45-yard line, a gain of 5 before Hood makes the stop. Sipe looked like he slipped a bit on the setup.
Well, at that spot in the field, the footing is not very good. It's a little bit soft, and so he's going to have to watch what he's doing, and especially in setting up to throw the football right around until they work themselves out of that area right around the 45-yard line. 5
minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the first half. Dave Logan has now caught passes in 31 straight games. The record is 32, held by his teammate Reggie Rucker. 2nd and 4 at the Packers 44 for the Browns. Mike Pruitt slices for maybe a yard, and that's all. They have not burned the Packer defense this afternoon. Ed O'Neill, the linebacker, made the tackle there. Calvin Hill is out, and Charles White checks back in, and a few other people as well. Willis Adams, number 80, who is a #1 draft choice last year for the Browns, has come in, and Cleveland also using 2 tight ends with Ozzie Newsome and McDonald Oden, number 84, a free agent rookie who they're impressed with. So it's 3rd now and 1 at the 41-yard line. Charles White has the first down inside the 40. Good, tough inside runner White has proven to be.
For a little guy, surprisingly, he's proven that he can run the inside traps and run inside of guard and tackle. He's a very durable little player. That's one of the reasons why he was taken on the 1st round by Cleveland, and thus far has proven to be an effective runner.
White comes out, Calvin Hill comes back in. Situation substituting, the new mode in the NFL. 1st and 10 for the Browns at the Packers 39. Score is 3-0 in favor of the Browns. Play action and the rush, and a lofted pass, and we're going to have pass interference on the Browns in the pass intended for Calvin Hill. And what made it pass interference is that the defender was waving his arms. If he had not waved his arms, he would not have been called. But that is the criterion on that kind of play. You'll see the defender waving his arms in front of Calvin Hill with the back to the line of scrimmage.
Defensive pass interference, number 56.
Ed O'Neill, the linebacker, and he was waving them.
All right, Calvin Hill, the situation sub, situations pass-wise, he goes in, sight, little pressure. Watch O'Neill's hands come up right there. Calvin, very smart, stops and does not try to go any farther, makes O'Neill run right into him. Very smart play by Calvin Hill.
Sipe got rid of it in a hurry. Mike Douglas was pressuring him, so it's 1st down at the 20-yard line, and Brian's in trouble looking for a receiver. He has a lot of time, and he throws it away, intended for Rucker, but outside of the end zone territory. It'll go incomplete for Brian Sipe. Just at the last minute of that last play did O'Neal put his arms up. If he hadn't, he would not have been called.
That's right. The play that we just saw there with Brian Sipe, the Packers secondary did a remarkable job. When a man has that much time back there in the pocket, can move around, and still they have coverage on the receivers downfield, the guys back in the secondary for Green Bay have got to be doing an excellent job.
It'll be 2nd and 10 for the Browns at the Packers 20-yard line. We have 3 minutes and 25 seconds remaining in the first half. A Cockroft field goal early in this period has been the scoring. 3-0 Browns. Calvin Hill, 35, is back there with Pruitt, 43. Quick toss, and it is Logan, the intended receiver, and he can't hold on to it. Logan was juggling it and defended well by Mark Lee.
All right, from ground level, Brian Sipe, the blitz is on as he throws it up. Number 22, Mark Lee, who's got great speed himself, does a great job of getting up and fighting Dave Logan for the ball. Logan, great hands himself, stays with it until the last possible second, and you can see his frustration right there as he didn't come up with the big TD catch.
And a solid play by Mark Lee, who is a second-round rookie from the University of Washington, a superb athlete for the Huskies. Sipe, 7 for 15, 72 yards. 3rd and 10 now at the 20-yard line. 3 wide receivers in there, and moving first was Dave Logan. And the pass intended for Rucker is complete and out of bounds, but the penalty marker down, and I think Dave Logan moved, but we'll check and see. 3rd and 15 now at the 25, and that'll affect field goal position now as Sipe is back. Pressured, penalty marker down, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Ozzie Newsome, but a penalty marker is down at the 5-yard line. Mike McCoy and Steve Luke defending.
Could get interference call on number 29 because he had his hands on Ozzie Newsome out of the 5-yard zone.
That's it. It would be an illegal chuck if that's what it is, and Mike McCoy would be called for it, and it would give the Browns a much-needed automatic first down. They've got it at the 20.
Illegal contact, 29 defense, first down.
So the Browns in a good spot here. 1st and 10 at the 20. Sipe has time, lofts it over the middle to Newsome. Incomplete, and he tried to make a one-handed catch at the goal line, and he was free. They use him as a wide receiver. He's got that kind of speed.
Well, that time Sipe was trying to hit him down the middle. The Packers going to the zones to the outside. Newsome outstretched trying to reach the ball, just can't quite come up with it.
We told you about George Cumby, the linebacker. We have another penalty marker down. He was defending.
We've got offsetting, continuous action, unsportsmanlike foul. 65 offense, 99 defense. The down counts.
Charles Johnson of the Packers and Henry Shepard of the Browns, the left guard on offense, called for unsportsmanlike conduct. That's the 2nd time in the ball game that we've had that kind of offsetting, unsportsmanlike calls. The down will count, and it'll be 2nd and 10 as you look at the Green Bay defense with Charles Johnson, number 99, the nose tackle, and he's going to come out. Calvin Hill also is out for the Browns, and Charles White comes back in, and McDonald Oden, number 84, is the new tight end as Newsome gets a breather. 2nd and 10 at the 20 for the Browns. 3:02 to go first half. 3-0 Cleveland over the Packers. Sipe has time. Going to the corner. Touchdown. It's a touchdown. Reggie Rucker. Reggie Rucker has caught the touchdown pass, his 2nd of the season, and the Browns have moved up 9-0.
Well, Reggie,
and another penalty down at the line of scrimmage, so hold the phone. And it apparently is against the Browns. You see that it is, and a big TD is nullified, Paul.
63 offense on a hold.
The guilty party is Cody Rison, who played so well against Jacob Green and the Seattle Seahawks last week, holding.
well, those things happen, and Cody Rison certainly feels very bad about it, but that's the kind of situation in which you cannot have an infraction occur when you're going for the 6-pointer. As an old coach that I formerly played with, A few years back, Blanton Collier said you never know when the big play is going to occur.
That could be a big play. It's 2nd and 20 now at the 30-yard line. The Browns thought they had a touchdown. He dumps it off to Mike Pruitt. Penalty marker down. Pruitt on his feet inside the 20 to the 16-yard line, but a penalty marker is down. And this game is rough indeed, and the officials, it's a holding call against Cleveland. So now the Browns figured they had the touchdown, may come away with no points, Paul, because they're out of field goal range now.
Well, they're out of field goal range, and they're just a long ways away from picking up the first down. The penalties and the infractions will just kill you. That's something that Sam Rutigliano talked about last week. We'll continue that point.
Holding, 73 offense, still 2nd down.
Well, Doug Deacon was holding this time. It is still 2nd down and 30 now, and the ball back at the 40-yard line. And Greg Pruitt checks in for the Clevelanders. There have been penalties on 4 of the last 5 plays. And they really burned the Browns with those calls. Sipe trying to get some of the real estate back, and he has Mike Pruitt, who's hit, gets away from a defender, and is down at the 30-yard line. Well, they picked up 10 quickly there.
I'd like to pick up the point in which I was talking about penalties. Penalties just kill an offensive team's effort to move the ball downfield. Sam Rutigliano said one of the reasons why Cleveland played so well against Seattle last week is they kept their number of infractions down to 4 for the ball game. And we've seen 3 right here on this drive.
2 minutes, 15 seconds remaining in the first half. The Browns have the ball at the 30-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 20. And this is an important play for Green Bay's defense, because if they can get away with no points on the board, that could help them in the locker room at halftime. And don't forget, they'll still have a shot on offense. Greg Pruitt and Mike Pruitt, the setbacks. Sipe to try to go to the air. He lofts it over the middle of Rucker, and Rucker has it at the goal line. Reggie Rucker, despite Estes Hood and Johnny Gray defending, turned around to make a brilliant catch and a 1st and goal for the Browns.
Well, Reggie Rucker's been the guy that they've called upon time and time again, who makes the big catch. That time, he made it, took it all the way down to about the 1-yard line. He's done that thing for the last several years here in Cleveland.
Well, that's how far the Browns have to go to add to their 3-0 lead, and they're going with the 2 tight end alignment of Newsome and McDonald-Odin right now. 1st and goal at the 1. A big clutch play, Paul.
Well, it's a big play, and as I said, Reggie Rucker has been known for making those kind of plays, but it's also the kind of play that sort of destroys the morale of a defensive team when you have an offensive team backed up after penalties, and all you have to do is just limit them to short yardage, and now they're knocking on the door for a touchdown here. Let's see what happens.
Well, we've had our 2-minute warning, and they now move up tight on the line with 2 tight ends. Charles White and Mike Pruitt, and White goes in motion. Goal line play. Pruitt is in for the touchdown. Mike Pruitt has scored his 3rd touchdown of the season, and the Browns lead it 9-0. It took some work, but I'll tell you one thing, the Packers could have gone in that locker room sky high after the developments following the penalties. Instead, the Browns are sailing with a 9-0 lead on Pruitt's score.
All right, here's a ground level shot. Brian Sipe barking out the signals, and he gives it to the big man, who just plows straight ahead and rams it right across the end zone stripe into the end zone for the touchdown.
Don Cockcroft will attempt the point after. He's been successful 13 of 15 times. Kick is good, and the Browns lead it 10-0. But with 1 minute and 57 seconds remaining in the first half, Paul, I would have to say, following that 62-yard, 12-play drive by the Browns, that the Packers can kind of right things if they can get on the board before the end of this half. They have 1 minute and 57 to go. If they can have decent field position following a kickoff, and Dickey can get them on the board, they'll be in pretty good shape going into the second half.
That'll really change the perspective of this ball game if Dickey can move his club all the way downfield and put some points on the board. Right now, the Browns have a 10-0 lead. That's by no means a great lead in professional football, but it would be a lot closer if Dickey could put 7 or 3 points on the board. So it's going to be interesting to see how he moves his club down the field. Of course, the Browns can't have a letdown in the situation, and most clubs in the National Football League move well in 2 minutes.
You know, on paper, Paul, the Browns are the stronger club coming in this game, but, you know, the Packers have played them very tough so far. A couple of breaks have gone against them. They haven't been able to move the ball. The field position has been bad, but the Packers are definitely a respectable club out here.
Well, the Browns defensive coordinator Marty Schottenheimer, who formerly worked for the Detroit Lions last year, said that this is a tough ball club, and they've proven to be that exactly here today. They haven't given up a thing, and they're playing against one of the better offensive clubs in Cleveland in the AFC. And Bart Starr, who we just saw there on the monitor, has to be very proud of his group, and he's been very proud of the way that they've performed in the last 3 weeks.
Cockcroft will kick off. 1:57 remaining. The Packers have 2 timeouts remaining. They used one of theirs just before the 2-minute warning. And now they're going to line up on one side. And Cockcroft is indicating a possible onside, and he kicks a high end over end to Mark Lee, who has a running start at the 15. Lee up the middle, puts his head down, and gets to the 27-yard line. And let's see what Green Bay can do from there. They haven't had any kind of field position thus far today. Clifton Odom makes the stop. So Dickey comes out, 1:55 remaining in the first half, 10-0 the score. So while Green Bay has improved defensively as far as giving up points are concerned, they've really had gained a lot of yardage the last 2 weeks, but they haven't scored that much. 14 in each game. Turdell Middleton 34, Jerry Ellis 31 of the setbacks. 4 down linemen for the Browns as Elvis Franks comes in. Dickey dumps it off to Turdell Middleton. Middleton had a blocker, lost it, and he's piled up at the 31. Looked like Leotis Harris was out there, but the Browns played it extremely well. Clock continues to move.
Good pursuit to the football. Right now, Green Bay is utilizing 3 wide receivers, and so Dickey wants to put the ball up in the air and get it downfield.
Undra Thompson, James Lofton, and Ron Cassidy are the 3 wide men. 2nd and 6 over the middle to Turdell Middleton, but he's hit immediately, and Robert L. Jackson, number 56, made a key play there. Clock continues with 1:15 to go. The Packers 2 timeouts remaining, trailing 10-0 as you see the time. Dickey has to go downfield. Middleton again at the 40. And he's down at the 43-yard line, and under a minute to go, and now the Packers will use one of their remaining 2 timeouts. Clay Matthews defending along with Ambrose, and now Dickey will confer with Bart Starr. So Green Bay's strategy obviously was pick up some short yardage quickly, and with about a minute to go, get close to midfield, but they're still about 8 yards away from that.
Well, I think he's going to have to change his strategy, and Dickey might be talking that over with coaches Bart Starr, head coach, and assistant coach Zeke Bradkowski right there. He's going to have to change his strategy, and I think throw a little bit deeper in towards the sidelines if he wants to get into field goal position or to put 6 points on the scoreboard.
And of course, you wonder why quarterbacks don't quickly go downfield for the big chunk of yardage first and then try to nibble away instead of nibbling early.
Well, there are a lot of people that are hanging back in the secondary. The linebackers are taking real good drops, but he's going to have to gamble a little bit. But the safest place to throw the football in this situation is towards the sidelines. Make sure that if you got to throw it towards the sidelines so the defender can't get it, and if you can, throw it out of bounds.
Lynn Dickey, who completed 14 passes in a row in one stretch last week against Tampa Bay, has talked things over with Bradkowski and Starr. 59 seconds remaining in the first half. 1st and 10 Green Bay on their own 43, and they have 1 timeout to go. He needs protection. He has it up the middle again, and it is intercepted. Middleton had it and lost it to Charlie Hall, and the Cleveland Browns have intercepted the pass to end that threat. And for Charlie Hall, his first interception of the season, the veteran, solid, dependable outside linebacker in the strategy. They still went to the back.
Well, they're still trying to go underneath the coverage, and when you throw it in there, and if there's going to be juggled, that's a danger area. Charlie Hall and both Robert L. Jackson was right there. Middleton tipped the ball up in the air. Charlie Hall came down with it. Now the Browns have it. 53 seconds left, and they could put some more points on the board.
That's right. They're in Green Bay territory at the 47. And I guess the Packers wanted the short pass to the backs and hoped they'd get loose and run for about 10 more. Greg Pruitt and Mike Pruitt the setbacks, and now the Browns have a shot. And they have all of their timeouts remaining. 53 seconds to go in the half. Sipe, and he's going for Mike Pruitt. And Pruitt has it down the middle inside the 5. Greg Pruitt with the reception. That's Greg Pruitt with the reception. And Brian Sipe with a big pass play, and Cleveland can see another touchdown in the offing right here.
Well, that's a big play for Greg Pruitt, who hadn't played very much during this season. And the little guy that time showed that he still has some speed. Nice catch over the shoulders.
49-yard pass play. And a timeout with 40 seconds to go. And the two tight end alignment in there for the Browns. Calvin Hill goes in as well, and here is it right up the middle. He was open. He found the seam, as they say.
Greg Pruitt went right down the seam. You'll see him in the screen right there. There he is, wide open, catch over the shoulders, running well. Up to this point, Pruitt has not really run well during the course of the season, has been hobbled by that knee injury, but he's starting to come back.
Well, they thought that he might be able to be ready last week, but the game was played on the artificial surface in Seattle. They didn't want to take any chances with that, and so they wisely let him stay out another week and play on the softer grass here in Cleveland. But Greg Pruitt comes back impressively here. This is his first fifth pass reception of the season. A big one for the Browns, who have first and goal at the 4-yard line, and they are leading 10-0. Cockroft with a 41-yard field goal early in the second quarter, and Mike from the yard with just under 2 minutes remaining. Calvin Hill, the deep back, Mike Pruitt, and now they move into the split back formation. Two tight ends. Play action, and Sipe going and throws it away. He had no one open. He wanted to go to Calvin Hill, who was covered, and he wisely threw it out of the end zone.
Well, he had Calvin Hill going deep into the flat, but Calvin Hill was covered very nicely by Estes Hood going into that corner. So Sipe, as you said, Dick, wisely took a look, saw what the situation was, decided to throw the ball away rather than have an interception.
Brian now is 10 for 20 for 155 yards. Second down and goal at the 4. Rucker and Logan in at wide receiver, so the second tight end comes out for Cleveland. Sipe passing, and no flag. It was intended for Newsome, but he fell down on his own accord. John Anderson was covering, so the Packers have defensed the Browns perfectly on 2 goal line plays, and now it is third and goal at the 4, and the time shows 29 seconds. The Browns with 2 timeouts to go, and they'll go back with the dual tight end again.
Well, Sipe wanted a little more time. He was flushed out of the pocket on that last passing play. Had to throw it hurriedly to Ozzie Newsome, who was breaking to his right. Ozzie had to try to adjust to the ball that was thrown more to the center. Couldn't quite make the adjustment under the circumstances.
Bootleg plays have been popular in situations like this with some clubs. Sipe has time, and wide open is Ozzie Newsome, and he doesn't make it to the goal line. Ozzie Newsome is tripped up, and a brilliant play, I think, by Mike Douglas. And it'll be fourth and goal at the 1. Mike Douglas saved a touchdown.
Well, that was really a big play by Mike Douglas for Green Bay. Sipe did a good job play action faking the pass. Here it is, a ground level shot. Here's Brian faking it. There's a cornerback, number 29, McCourt, coming in, pressuring Brian. He throws a Newsome out in the flats. There's number 53, Mike Douglas, who comes solo, makes the tackle on Ozzie Newsome, stops him just shy of the goal line. The ball is about on the 1.
He has been the Packers' best linebacker this year. He had something like 10 unassisted tackles last week against Tampa Bay. He is a 5th-round draft choice in his 3rd year from San Diego State, and he saved a touchdown. You're looking at number 53, Mike Douglas, stepped into a starting spot when John Anderson broke his arm last year and is apparently in for good. in that 3-4. So the important numbers to know: 14 seconds to play. The Browns, having called a timeout, have 1 remaining, but really it's 4th and goal at the 1, and it's all right here.
Well, this could mean the difference in a lot of points, and Sam Rutigliano has apparently elected to allow the offense to go on and try to get the touchdown. That shows that the coach has his confidence in his offensive unit. Browns could go up perhaps by a score as much as, well, about 17-0 here.
Charles White is back in there to team with Mike Pruitt. 2 tight ends remain, and it's 4th and 1, and you'll see it. In motion is Willis Adams. Charles White. He didn't make it, and the Packers have held a goal line stand by the Green Bay Packers. And the Browns had 1st and goal at the 4-yard line. Or actually, we should say the 1-yard line. They got to the 1, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
They had less than a yard to score, and look at the Green Bay defense bottle him up. And it was Charles White who tried to go over the top. No contest, and you can credit everyone. We saw Ed O'Neill, but it's a team effort, and the Packers have held with 9 seconds to go.
Well, we saw a little bit of shifting momentum. First for the Browns, now for the Packers. The Packers have got to go into halftime now feeling mighty good about the fact of stopping the Browns from putting 7 more points on the board.
And if that doesn't get them geared up for the second half, nothing will. It'll be 1st and 10 at the 1-yard line, and the only thing you want to avoid here is a mistake. They got to get out of that end zone territory, though, with 9 seconds to go. He's got to use that quarterback sneak and get out of the area, and he does. And they're going to let it run out. Lynn Dickey calls his own number, and the clock will run down to conclude the first half with the score: the Cleveland Browns 10, the Green Bay Packers nothing. But a great goal line stand for the Packers capped this exciting second quarter. We had a scoreless first quarter here at Cleveland Stadium, and then early in the second period, Don Cockcroft kicked a 41-yard field goal to give the Browns a 3-0 lead. That was 3 minutes into the second quarter. And then the Browns apparently thought they had a touchdown on a score from Sipe to Reggie Rucker, but they was holding on the play, and then all of a sudden all kinds of things happened. And on a 3rd and 20 at the 30-yard line, Brian Sipe hit Reggie Rucker for 29 yards, and Mike Pruitt went over from the 1 to make it 10-0 with less than 2 minutes to play. It has been a tight game, and I think that both defenses have played very well, and it's the kind of a game, Paul, I think that if there's a break, it could turn things either way. But we're going to take a look at some highlights if we can. But as we talk here, in the booth, let me ask you this question. The Packers have not been able to do what they have to do to score, and that's what they're, going to have to do that they haven't been able in 3 games.
Well, the Browns have had ball control, and they've had the Packers backed up in their own territory, and Green Bay really hasn't been able to get its offense moving the way I think it wants to get it moving. Packers are a little bit behind. They're going to have to play a little bit of catch-up ball. I think they're going to have to take a few more chances offensively.
In other words, you think Dickey should go deep a little bit more, maybe try to throw the downward field pass more, not so much the flare pass and the short pass?
I think that they have to go down field deep a little bit more to Thompson and also to Lofton and get away from the percentage passes if they're going to get back in this ball game.
All right, let's take a look at the big defensive play of this game. There have been several, but this was the big one. 4th and goal at the 1-yard line for the Browns, who had 1st and goal following a pass to Greg Pruitt, and here is the way it happened. Charles White was stopped cold by the Packers. Well, the Browns have dominated the game statistically, which means absolutely nothing, because we were talking about how much the Packers have done yardage-wise but not scoring. And there you see what it's all about. 11 for 22 for Brian Sipe, and Dickey's been very conservative, Paul.
Dickey has been very conservative, and as a matter of fact, this is the thing that we had started to get into and talk about a little bit. He's got to open it up just a little bit more with the passing game. He's got good receivers. He's got a good arm himself, Dickey does, and so he's got to be a little bit more aggressive in throwing the football downfield. I
think the game has changed. I don't think it's a conservative game anymore. I know we were talking about the old Packers and the way they play. They didn't have the material, really, for this kind of style. And I think if you look at the real successful teams, they're the teams that go deep. I think that they've got to use Lofton deep. They've got to let the Browns know that he is a deep threat. And they just can't play the conservative, short passing, running style all the time. That's not the way the game is now.
Well, certainly with the rule changes regarding the one bump on receivers and the new rule changes regarding pass protection, the emphasis is throwing the ball downfield and going for the home run. Now, you can use a conservative ball control type offense, but in the end, it's usually going to get you beat because one play can go 80 yards, can take you out of a ball game.
Yeah, you've got to do things differently. As you look at Brian Sipe, you got to pass when they think you'll run and run when they think you'll pass and keep them off balance. And in this game, if you're going to be too predictable, you're not going to put too many points on the board. Well, the Packers now, Don Cockcroft will kick off, and Mark Lee, number 22, is back there, along with Mike McCoy. Lee, 22, McCoy, 29. And let's see what kind of strategy the Packers come out with here as they trail 10-0. Lee to the left, McCoy to the right. Overcast, the lights have been on since the start of this game. Breeze whipping off Lake Erie, but not a chilling kind of cold that they have here. End over end line drive kick, and it's Lee at the 5. Breaks one tackle, and then he is collared at the 27-yard line by McDonald Oden. So the Packers are on offense, 1st and 10. They were held scoreless in the first quarter and never really had good field position, nor did they threaten.
Well, right now they're starting at right about the 28-yard line. That's good field position. Lynn Dickey shouldn't feel pressed in getting his offense into play, and so he's got good room to move with. Let's see what he puts together, and let's see what the Packers have talked about during halftime and how they're going to come out offensively in the second half.
Jerry Ellis with 17 yards carry and a 4.3 average was their best rushing as Andre Thompson comes in motion, number 89. 1st and 10 at the 28. Pitch goes to Ellis. He fumbles. And the Packers have held on to it. Jerry Ellis fumbles the handoff. And I guess if there's one thing you don't want to see on your first play in the second half, it's
that can really turn a game around. Ellis never really gets the handle on the flip, but he has good presence of mind as he's looking for that football and beats Clarence Scott, number 22, to it. And that could have been a big play, and that could have really turned things around in this ball game.
They lose 3, 2nd and 13. So they start the second half off with a running play, and now it's 2nd and 13, and they've got to be careful. Lofton wide left, Thompson wide to the right. Dickey passes, incomplete, intended for Lofton, and Clinton Burrell, number 49, defending on the play. Good defense by the second-year man from LSU, who moved into the starting spot as Lawrence Johnson was injured for the year, and Oliver Davis had been the starter for 4 years.
Well, we were just talking, that's the thing that they've got to do. Look downfield for guys like Lofton and Thompson. That time, Lofton was being double covered in the Browns secondary. Burrell was getting some help from free safety, number 27, Tom Darden. But nevertheless, it's tough to throw the ball downfield, but that's exactly what Dickey has to do.
4 down linemen. Elvis Franks, number 94, in for the Browns. We have a 3rd down and 12 at the 27. In motion is Lofton, and here comes the pressure, and they hold him out. The pass is complete at the 32-yard line, but they're way short of a 1st down. The tight end, Paul Kaufman, makes his first catch of the day. Again, tempers flaring. Charlie Hall defending, and it'll be punting situation now. And the Packers are flat as a tire as they start the second half.
Well, a completion for about 5 or 6 yards in that situation doesn't do you one bit of good. You just turn the football over, and so, it's really worthless.
David Beverly will punt. Buddy Adelette will do the snapping, and Keith Wright, number 89, is standing at his 26-yard line. Wright comes up to meet it and has a running start at the 35. And Wright is hit hard by number 21, Mike Jolly, defensive back, a rookie from the University of Michigan. A 34-yard punt. He got it back 6 yards. And so the Browns will go on offense for the first time in the second half. They're leading 10-0 after a scoreless first period. Cockcroft with a 41-yard field goal. Mike Pruitt went over from a yard after a big pass play. 29 yards. Sipe to Rucker brought it to the 1.
And Brian Sipe starts out with pretty good field position here as he's at the 43-yard line. Only needs 7 yards to get across the 50-yard line, and it's the kind of situation that a quarterback likes to operate out of.
Charles White, number 25, and Mike Pruitt, 43, are the setbacks. Pitch goes to Pruitt, and he's going to be stalled back there by Mike Butler. Mike Butler just stormed right in from his left defensive end position. And he's a big guy at 265 and 6'5", was a #1 draft choice from Kansas 4 years ago, and he stormed in past DeLamielleure.
All right, watch number 77 as he gets right by number 64, Joe DeLamielleure. Just breaks inside of him, strips the blocker, gets to the ball carrier, and rides Mike Pruitt out of bounds. It's a big play for Green Bay, and Green Bay turns the tide right here.
Calvin Hill comes in as the pass receiver out of the backfield. 2nd and 15 at the 38-yard line. Opening moments, third quarter. Dick Stockton with Paul Warfield here at Cleveland Stadium in Ohio. Sipe getting enough time. Brian Sipe sees the receivers covered, and he goes cross field to Reggie Rucker, who makes the catch, but Estes Hood puts him down immediately. They're still about 11 yards short of a first down. It'll be 3rd down.
Well, here's Reggie Rucker in the slot. It's Estes Hood working against him. Reggie has a lot of moves, very good presence and awareness. He sees Brian in trouble. Now he goes back across field. He's open temporarily, but Hood comes and closes the gap.
Well, he was open, but the Packers didn't mind. I mean, with all that time, he's running in circles 5 yards down the field, so the Packers don't mind that reception.
No, and I think you got to give your, you got to tip your hat to the Packers secondary again, because Sipe is getting a lot of time back there, and yet they're hanging with these receivers very well.
3rd and 10 at the 43. Sipe likes to go to the air. And the pass to Rucker is complete, a first down. Reggie Rucker has a first down at the 43-yard line of the Green Bay Packers. Estes Hood covering, and just a simple sideline pattern.
Simple sideline pattern, and again, every time Sipe is in trouble, seemingly he looks for number 33, Reggie Rucker, who's always made a lot of clutch catches, and there's a clutch catch in that situation again to keep this drive moving. Cleveland across the 50-yard line now, and definitely on the move, going towards the goal line.
1st and 10 at the 43. Sipe, quick release. Ozzie Newsome. What a one-handed catch Newsome made, turned around. An 8-yard pickup to the 36-yard line. Johnny Gray covering.
Sipe again looking for the short out pass to Newsome. Newsome, unusual ability for a tight end. How many tight ends do you see like this can adjust on the ball, make a catch with one hand, grab it, and take it out of bounds?
He is a 3rd wide receiver threat. Rucker goes out. Willis Adams, number 80, comes into the game. #1 draft choice. Caught one pass last year. Hasn't done quite as well as the Browns had hoped out of Houston. And he's in there now, wide left, flanked along with number 85, Dave Logan. 2nd and 3 at the 36-yard line. Browns moving on Cleveland. On the Green Bay. And Sipe has a lot of time. He finds Mike Pruitt. And Pruitt has a first down at the 23 or 26-yard line. So Pruitt has his 5th reception of the ball game at another Cleveland first down.
Sipe really set that play up nicely. Watch him look to his left, and he's looking downfield to his left, and all the time he's throwing to number 43, who's slipping under the coverage, Mike Pruitt, who gets the necessary yardage for the first down before being brought down by 56.
Ed O'Neill and Kurt Allerman then came on and put the seal on it. 1st and 10 at the 27. Browns, they can afford to use the conservative style. They're leading 10-0. Mike Pruitt spins his way to the 25. Gain of 2 yards.
Dick, they can't afford to use the conservative style because they've got the 10-0 lead, but that's not the way that Sam Rutigliano likes to play football. He believes that you can become so conservative that you become complacent.
Brian Sipe came into his own last year. The Browns had a 9-7 record. They were involved in some cardiac games down the stretch, but they really became a club. Offensively became one of the great powerhouses of the league. Defense was the question mark, but defensively the Browns have progressed to a point that few people thought they would this year, and they have kept the Packers off the board so far today. 2nd and 8 at the 25. Here comes Butler, and a penalty marker down, and Sipe's toss is incomplete. It was intended for Reggie Rucker, but a penalty marker is down on the field. Let's watch Charles Johnson here, Paul.
Yeah, he's a big, tough nose tackle. And again, Tom DeLeon, 54, is working on him. Henry Shepard is supposed to give a little bit of aid. And there's Joe DeLawin-Lord, number 64, who tries to cut him. 3 guys working on the big man.
Could be against Cleveland, and apparently it is perhaps a holding call, but let's wait and see. It will be against the Browns, and that'll move him back to the 35.
54 offense, holding, still second down.
Tom DeLeon, and now that was a great shot by our production team with Don Ellis and Bob Dunphy in the truck, because there's a personal foul or an unsportsmanlike conduct called as well against the Browns, and they're going to move it way back. And this is something that's been simmering throughout the ball game. DeLeon was holding on the play, and you can't blame him, Paul.
Well, a lot of punishment being dished out right there.
You saw Charles Johnson storming in and moving DeLeon back as Retigliano, who is an assistant coach. He's been coaching for 27 years and was working in New England and New Orleans. Been a great offensive mind.
Well, he's got to be disturbed about those last 2 calls, because it's pushed his football team 20 yards back.
They're at midfield, 2nd and 33. Third quarter, nearly 5 minutes gone by. Sipe dumps it off to Mike Pruitt, who can't get away, and in fact was dragging Mike McCoy a yard or 2. The other Johnson is Ezra, number 90.
Ezra Johnson, big pass rusher, has been very important in the pack scheme of the 4-3 now in the 34. And he's working real hard right there against the Browns offensive right tackle number 73, Doug Deacon, who's quite a fighter and battler himself.
Maybe one of the best pass blockers in the league, Doug Deacon.
Really an underrated offensive lineman. You don't hear very much about him, but he's really a workman type of player. Just goes about and gets his job done.
3rd and 24. The Browns at the Packers 42. Sipe, penalty marker down, and Brian is trying to find someone open and finally just lofts it untouched downfield. And we have a penalty marker down, and I think Charles Johnson. Now I don't know if that's the sign for ejection of the game, but let's wait and see. Charles Johnson.
Disqualification 99, roughing the quarterback.
Charles Johnson has been thrown out of the game for roughing the quarterback and holding cold against the Browns. And here it is, as Charles Johnson was disqualified for roughing Brian Sipe.
All right, Charles Johnson playing over the nose over Tom DeLeon, number 54. He's fighting hard to get to the passer, blocked by 3 Browns players right there. This guy's a real load. Now he flows out of the pocket, hustling for Brian Sipe, who will come into your picture. Now, you're going to see what gets him out of, as he really beads in on Sipe and hits him right there. It's a controversial call that the Packers' defense of people are not happy with, but it's going to hurt them.
And what about, I saw Henry Shepard give him quite a hit, too.
Yes, he did. But that rule has been instated this year to protect the quarterbacks, and a defensive lineman has to just pull up when he's approaching the quarterback or try to avoid him one way or another.
Let's see if Gene Barth has any more announcements here.
We're going to replay the down. Got 73 offense holding, disqualification 99 defense. Still 3rd down, replay.
All right, it's 3rd down. Charles Johnson is out. Here it is again as he just went into him. And that's the thing about protecting quarterbacks, and it happened right near the Cleveland sideline. Doug Deacon was called for holding, so it is still 3rd and 24 at the 41-yard line. Greg Pruitt, number 34, is in the game now. Sipe finds Reggie Rucker, and Reggie Rucker beats Estes Hood and gets to the 25. He'll be short of a 1st down, but with 3rd down now, 4th down will set up a field goal opportunity for Don Cockcroft. Mike Douglas making the play, and Rucker just breezed past Estes Hood.
Not too much Sipe could really do on that play, but go underneath the coverage. The Packers were in their nickel defense with 5 defensive backs. Quite a bit of people back there in the secondary. Sipe elected to go under and give Reggie a little bit of running room. He made it close. Now Don Cockcroft will try a field goal from about 42 yards.
42-yard. Paul McDonald, the backup quarterback will hold. Don Cockcroft has hit one from 41 yards out. And the kick is good. Cockcroft will kick off. He has 2 field goals today, and Brian Sipe getting some repairs over at the Browns sideline. Cleveland leading 13-0, and right now the Packers are faced, as they tape up his midsection, they're faced with a situation where they need 2 touchdowns. Mike McCoy over at the 8-yard line. And once again, the Browns with good coverage. The Packers have not had any kind of decent field position all afternoon. Willis Adams made the tackle for the Browns, and so Lynn Dickey comes out once more. Time remaining 8 minutes and 38 seconds here in the third quarter. Scoreless first half. The Browns scored 10 in the second and 3 here in the third.
Well, the Packers don't have the kind of offense, or at least they haven't demonstrated that they can make the quick strike, and so that means it's going to be a lot of ball control and a long drive and trying to put together a drive of, let's say, of about 75, 76 yards.
That's Dickey's numbers, but he has not been able to hit a long one. Jerry Ellis, number 31, and Turdell Middleton, 34, the setbacks. Paul Kaufman goes in motion for the Packers. Play action, and Dickey fires downfield, complete to Lofton, and a first down at the 42-yard line. Ron Bolton covering James Lofton off to his best start, and that's what the Packers have to start to do.
Well, they've got to go to that man, number 80, right there, and he's exactly the kind of person that you want to go to. He's got the great speed. He's a big guy, about 6'3", 27-foot long jumper, while at the University of Stanford. Terrific athlete, can do it all.
19-yard pickup. Packers now at the 42. Out of the eye, the up back is Jerry Ellis. And the pitch goes to Turdell Middleton. Good block, and Middleton moves forward to the 47-yard line, and a gain of a good 5 yards. Charlie Hall makes the stop for the Cleveland Browns. And on this series, I see considerably better crispness on the part of the Green Bay offense.
Well, their offensive line is firing off awfully well. Dickey started out with the pass to James Lofton, came back with the flip. He's coming back with a 2nd and 6 situation, 6 or 5, 5.5. And they're now starting to move the football the way that Bart Starr, I'm sure, would like to see them do it.
And here's Middleton up the middle, and Middleton gets close to the 50, so it'll be 3rd and about 3 yards. Dick Ambrose, the linebacker, makes the stop, and a penalty marker is dropped. This may be a good time.
Personal foul, late hit, number 56 defense.
And these officials still controlling this game, and they've had to make some tough calls. Robert L. Jackson on a late hit, a personal foul. Brian Sipe, you saw him being taped up before, has bruised ribs. He should be back in this ball game.
56 defense.
Keep in mind, as the Packers now have perhaps their best field position right now, a 1st and 10 at the 35, that they have not scored in the third quarter at all this season. The Packers have been shut out in the third quarter through the first 6 games of the season.
Well, they certainly need a score right here and right now to get back into the ball game.
1st and 10, ball at the 35. Play action pass, and Middleton is stopped behind, and it's number 52, Dick Ambrose, who is a number 12 round draft pick back in 1975, underrated, makes a superb play.
That was a fine play by Dick Ambrose. Just after the Packers had gotten the additional yardage on the penalty, he comes up, reads that screen play out into the flat very well, makes a big play on Middleton, dropping him for a loss. Make the situation back to 2nd down, 15 yards to go.
They're tied in Philadelphia in a battle between teams that are 5-1, tied for 1st in the NFC East, Cincinnati over Minnesota. All right, 2nd and 15, the ball at the 40. So now Dickey, a bit of a hole now, has to get that real estate back. He lofts one for Lofton, and Lofton makes the catch, I believe, and a brilliant play by James Lofton, who one of his trademarks is his ability to leap high and come down with the ball, and that's a great play.
We were just talking about this young man's fine athletic ability. Dickey under a little bit of pressure. This time he just throws a lofting pass. Burrell is actually in great position, but watch number 80 Lofton come back, go up high. Well, Lofton is the guy that can get you back in the ball game. He's done exactly that. He's put Green Bay in a position where they're going for a score. Now Dickey has got to get the points on the scoreboard.
And this is a big down. 2nd and goal at the 7. Dickey looking right, going left, and Dickey's going to try to run. He's in. Touchdown, Packers. Lynn Dickey runs for the score, and the Packers are on the board in the 3rd quarter for the first time in this 1980 season, and that tightens the game up.
Well, we talked about Lynn Dickey being able to get over his physical problems. This is a situation that shows you where he does have some mobility now. He's not just a quarterback there who's back in the pocket, laid in cement. He moves out of the pocket, finds the opening, crashes across the goal line for the 6-pointer.
A point after touchdown. Burney will attempt it. His first opportunity this afternoon after the heartbreak game against Tampa Bay, and the left-footed kicker clicks. Here's our scoring play, and the Green Bay Packers with their first points of the 3rd quarter, and more important, trailing now 13-7. Burney kicking off inside the 5 to Keith Wright. And a jersey tackle at the 20-yard line by Jim Gano. And a player shaken up, looked like might have been Thompson, number 83 for the Packers. John Thompson, the backup tight end, looks like he hurt his leg. And we have an official's timeout, and it's his right leg that he's holding.
Looks like he's hurt his right knee.
John Thompson is being helped off the field right now, and if we have a chance, we'll update you on some of the scores around the league. And Thompson walking off with some help, and may not be quite as serious as it first appeared. We're going to update you on some of the important games around the league. Philadelphia and Dallas tied 10-10. Jaworski had a touchdown pass to Carmichael. Cincinnati over Minnesota, 7-0. The Bengals have been a surprise. They defeated Pittsburgh twice. Minnesota, of course, trying to stay within distance of the Lions in the Central Division. Washington over an obviously down St. Louis team, 23-0. They're grieving the loss of Steve Little. Tragic story there. Miami over Buffalo, 14-7 in the 3rd quarter. The Dolphins have to do it with mirrors this year. The Jets over Seattle, 14-10 in the 3rd quarter. And we resume. 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line now. 4:46 remaining. Sight gives to Mike Pruitt. Fumbles the ball, and the Packers have it. No. Yes, they do. The Packers have recovered, and I think it was Anderson who finally made the recovery, and Mike Pruitt fumbles. And if you want to talk about a cold team, the Browns are ice cold right now.
Well, it's been a real big change of events. Brian Sipe here takes the straight handoff, spins, puts it into the tummy of Mike Pruitt, who goes through the line of scrimmage. At that point, the ball is stripped out of his hands. The ball spins on the ground. It's a little bit loose right there. Few Packers can't seem to come up with it, but number 59, Anderson, came up with the ball, and now Green Bay is back in business again.
They sure are. 29-yard line, 1st and 10, and all of a sudden the complexion has changed. The Packers were shut out. Now if they can get a touchdown, they'll have a lead, provided they convert. 1st and 10 at the 29-yard line. Undra Thompson, number in motion, and Dickey will go to the air, and he has Lofton complete at the 10. And the Packers have awakened, and thanks to passes to James Lofton with Burrell defending on the play, Green Bay has silenced the 70,000 here.
All right, this is a slant in pass to Lofton. All he does is break right over the middle. Watch him go up and snag this ball right in his hands. Clean catch. Clinton Burrell there for the stop, but it's too late. And as you're right, you're exactly right, Dick. The Packers really have awakened here in the second half.
And he has made, Lofton has some brilliant catches. Good hands. 4:05 remaining third quarter. 1st and 10 at the 10. They can get a first down without scoring. Turdell Middleton to about the 8-yard line. And Robert L. Jackson, number 56, the linebacker, makes the stop. The Packers are rejuvenated as Dickey looks to Zeke Bratkowski on the sideline. Earlier they were shuttling tight ends, and Bratkowski has been signaling in the plays in earlier this year, and he's doing it right here. So it's 2nd and 8.
Well, they certainly put it together in the second half here. They've opened up their attack a lot more, putting the ball downfield, and it's paid off big dividends for them.
Both wide receivers split left. 2nd and 8 at the 8. In motion, Lofton. Dickey fires one. Lofton, another fine catch, and he gets inside the 5, and then it'll be 3rd and about, well, maybe 3.5 to 4. I think that the marker is inside the 1-yard line as you look again.
Well, Lofton comes in motion from left to right that time, and as was said before, it's a situation in which they try to isolate him on a defensive back. Ron Bolton, defending on that play, did a pretty good job.
Ron Bolton's having his best year. Came over from the New England Patriots on a deal. He is making the big hits. He prevented a touchdown perhaps right there. And now we have 3rd and 3 and a 4-down line defense for Cleveland as they stack it up in the middle. Middleton dives forward, and a touchdown for Turdell Middleton. And now the officials are saying no. I saw one official signal a touchdown, Paul.
It doesn't.
I saw a touchdown signal, and then, of course, I didn't. Let's see what Barth says. Gene Barth.
No touchdown. Correction, please. No touchdown. No touchdown. He was down by contact on the 1-foot line. We're going to measure.
He may have a first down, though. He may have a first down. The official signal touchdown, and then, of course, they took that call away. But they're going to measure, and this is a big one here. As we told you at the start of this series, they could get a first down without scoring.
Could be just as good. Even if they didn't get the touchdown, they will have the first down, and so will have 4 opportunities to go for the touch.
I think they've got first down. 1st and goal, about a foot away from the goal line. 2:28 remaining third quarter. The Packers are threatening to tie and take the lead in this game. They hung in there in the first half with a superb defensive effort, particularly by the secondary. And now the offense has come alive here in the third quarter.
And you've got to go back to the big goal line stand at the end of the first half.
Absolutely. Dickey goes to Ellis. No signal. He did not make it. Jerry Ellis was stacked up, and Robert L. Jackson hit him. So it'll be 2nd and inches.
Brown showing that they can play tough goal line defense here. Defensive line low off the ball. Robert L. Jackson mopping up the top, along with 52 Dick Ambrose to knock number 31 Gary Ellis right back. No score for the Packers, at least on the first try.
Who says the Browns can't put a goal line stand of their own on here, Paul?
Well, they've got 3 more tries at it.
That's just about where the Browns had it at the other end. All right, 2nd and goal, inches away. Again, he's got it. Touchdown, Packers. So Jerry Ellis on the 2nd try goes in for the touchdown, and we have a tie game, 13 apiece, with 1:46 remaining in the third quarter.
Lynn Dickey straight handoff again, same play virtually to Jerry Ellis. This time he breaks the play and gets into the end zone, even though Dick Ambrose, 52, and Robert L. Jackson, the same tacklers, are there. So Green Bay now ties the score at 13-all. An all-important point after is coming up now.
So Bernie will try the point after. David Beverly, the punter, is holding, and this is an important one. It's good, and the Packers have taken the lead. The Green Bay Packers, who were trailing 10-0 at halftime and found themselves down 13-0 early in this third quarter, have stormed back. So the Green Bay Packers are leading 14-13. Keith Wright, number 89, is deep. And Tom Burney, the Scotland-born left-footed kicker, 7-yard line for Keith Wright. And the Packers are a roused football club right now. Kit Lathrop makes the tackle at the 17-yard line, and the Browns will go on offense. We have another score, Miami leading Buffalo 17-7. Uwe von Schamann, a 23-yard field goal, and a surprise with the Dolphins leading the Bills.
Well, Dick, we've seen shifting momentum here in the third quarter. We saw the Browns come out and look like they were going to put 7 more points on the board. It didn't happen. All of a sudden, Green Bay got its offense going, and now the Packers definitely have the upper hand.
1:37 remaining in the third period. Calvin Hill, 35, is back there with Mike Pruitt, 43. Sipe looking to the sideline, finds Hill. He always finds that opening, and Hill gets about 8 yards on the reception. Defending on the play was George Cumbie, number 52, who we expected to see out there, the rookie linebacker, top-round draft choice from Oklahoma. But the veteran Calvin Hill. A lot of times they can use Hill as a decoy when he comes in the game and everyone thinks he'll be on the receiving end, right?
Well, in most instances they are looking for Hill, and he's the situation sub in for the definite passing situation and does a great job at it.
He had a first down on that play. Mike Pruitt looking for an opening, finds one. And a good inside move by Mike Pruitt gets the ball out to the 36-yard line, and a gain of a good 7 on the play.
Got to believe that Mike Pruitt wants to make amends for the 2 fumbles that he's had during the course of this ball game, and certainly the last fumble on the previous possession that Cleveland had. He ran real hard inside there and probably wants to break one.
35 seconds to go in the third quarter here in Cleveland. 14-13 the Pack leads. 2nd and 2. Mike Pruitt has a first down as he gets to the 40-yard line. George Cumbie makes the tackle. So the Browns using ball control of their own as the time running down here in the third quarter. 75,548 on here at Cleveland Stadium to see the Browns in the 7th game of the year. And of course the Browns know that the Steelers are playing tomorrow night against Oakland. In order for them to stay a game behind Pittsburgh, no matter what happens, they need a win. But right now they find themselves trailing. And that is the end of the third quarter here in Cleveland. The Packers have come back with 2 scores. We start the 4th and final quarter here in Cleveland, unless we have a deadlock. This is Dick Stockton along with Paul Warfield. A change of momentum and complexion in this game as the Packers with 2 touchdowns leading by a point.
Well, we see Brian Sipe taking a little bit different approach right now. He's going to his ground attack, but I've got a feeling he's going to try to lull the Packers to sleep, and then you'll see him put it up top. 1st and 10
at the Browns 40. Sipe 18 for 29 for 227 yards. Another big day for Brian, but he's looking for the points on a play action up the middle of Reggie Rucker. And Rucker has a first down at the 44. Mike McCoy makes the stop, and Reggie, who's done it for so many years, gets it done somehow, some way.
Always seems to be in the right spot at the right time. Brian, right on in hand with his running game, goes with a play-action pass on first down, finds Reggie Rucker right over the middle. Rucker takes a pretty good hit, but the old veteran that he is, he holds onto the football.
Looks like the Packers were giving the Browns that kind of play.
Well, again, I said Brian might be trying to lull them to sleep. He's been feeding them steady doses of running plays. That time he showed them the play-action pass, which froze the linebackers a little bit. He's able to get the ball over the middle.
Ozzie Newsome, the tight end, is wide to the left. The other receivers, Logan and Rucker, split right. 1st and 10 at the 42-yard line, and Mike Pruitt is hemmed in and doesn't go anywhere. And I think John Anderson, who has played a very active game at linebacker, had some help from George Cumbie as the linebacker is excelling. The Packers defensively today have had a whale of a ball game, Paul.
Played very well from the linebacker to front 4, and even the secondary has come up real well and supported on the runs. And yet, when Cypress had the extra time back in the pocket, they have really stayed with the Browns receivers, who are an experienced group.
They only had 35 sacks last year and 13 in 6 games this year, so they've certainly put more pressure on the quarterback. 2nd and 8 now, and Reggie Rucker in motion. The ball at the 40-yard line of Green Bay. Brian Sipe, better hurry up, and a good block by Joe DeLamielleure. The pass is incomplete, intended for Mike Pruitt. And DeLamielleure made a sack-saving play on, I believe, let's see, Ezra Johnson storming in from the outside. Watch Johnson and DeLamielleure making a good block.
Johnson really working hard against number 73, Doug Deacon. Gets away from him, but there comes DeLamielleure. And Brian Sipe was still finding a little extra time. Tom DeLeon, number 54, puts an extra shove on Johnson.
3rd and 8 at the 40. Rucker has caught 5 passes for 81 yards, and James Lofton has also caught 5 for the Packers. And he has been instrumental in Green Bay's offense coming alive in the second half. Plenty of time to go in the 4th quarter. Sipe, 3rd and 8, penalty marker down, and Sipe directing traffic, loops one to Calvin Hill, and it's incomplete. But we have the penalty marker back at the line of scrimmage and a holding call against Cleveland. A hold against the Browns brings it back.
Well, it was good pressure by the Green Bay front that time. They forced Sipe out of the pocket. Good coverage in the secondary by the Packers. He simply didn't have anyone to throw the football to downfield. Sipe bought as much time as he possibly could before dumping the ball under hurried conditions to Calvin Hill out in the flat.
Holding, 73 offense, refused, 4th down.
It'll be 4th down, and Evans will come in and punt. That was Doug Deacon who was holding earlier. Charles Johnson, the nose tackle for the Packers, was disqualified for a tough hit on the quarterback Brian Sipe, and we have had tempers flaring and unsportsmanlike conduct calls throughout this game. But now Evans will punt from the 45-yard line, and Ron Cassidy is at the 10. Booms it. Fair catch called for, and it takes a Cleveland bounce. Can they keep it in? They did. They did, and now the Packers are arguing. They have held it at the 1-foot line, and the officials ruled that the Browns were able to do it, but let's see, both are arguing right now. And now they say no. First indication was they downed it, and now they'll take it out to the 20.
The kick was ruled a touchback because his foot was touching the goal line. Automatic touchback.
Well, the Packers are at the 20-yard line, and it could have been the 1-foot line, and there's a big difference there, obviously, as they have it 1st and 10, 13:05 remaining in the game. Green Bay leading Cleveland 14-13. Lynn Dickey, the quarterback, and when he has gone deep, he has awakened a Green Bay sleeping offense. Lofton in motion, number 80, and the pitch goes to Turdell Middleton, who's upended in the backfield, and a fine play. Might have been Clarence Scott, number 22, who came in and forced the play, as you see Bart Starr and Bratkowski giving the signals on the sideline.
Clarence Scott did an excellent job of coming up from his strong safety position, shooting across the line of scrimmage and making a big play to give it a 2nd and 12. Green Bay has had a tendency, once getting ahead, to go conservative. I don't think that this is the time for them to do that.
Jerry Wilkinson, 6'9", from Oregon State, is in there. 4 down linemen, 2nd and 13 at the 17-yard line. Ellis carries. Stopped short of the 20-yard line. Penalty marker down, and you're going to see the signals again, but I don't think the play will go in until they know what the penalty is. I think it was against the Browns as the lineman moved.
Jerry Wilkinson, number 70, who just came into the ball game, jumped just a little bit before snap Dick, and I think he might be the guy who's guilty of the infraction.
Number 70 offside defense, still 2nd down.
Absolutely, Paul, and he comes out. So Wilkinson, all 6'9" of him, leaves the game after going offside. So it's 2nd and 8 now, and that's got to bother the Browns because they had the long yardage, and now it's 2nd and 8. Dickey has some more breathing room.
Well, it changes the situation.
Nope. Another unsportsmanlike call against the Cleveland Browns, and they'll chalk off 15 yards. The Browns call for unsportsmanlike conduct again, and it's a 1st down. Let's listen.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, violated the 3 warnings on the sideline. 1st down.
And that was a bench penalty. That was a penalty, the 3rd warning to the sideline, and now the Packers, who have the ball out at the 37-yard line, 1st and 10, with 12 minutes and 17 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter. Green Bay leading 14-13. Paul Kaufman in motion. Turdell Middleton had a blocker, Darrell Goforth, but the Browns came up and Charlie Hall made a superb play for Cleveland. It'll be second down. He gained 4 yards on the play. Zeke Bratkowski will give the sign to Lynn Dickey, just like a baseball team with signs from the third base coach. All right, 2nd and 6.
Puts a little more pressure on the passer to try to figure out what the signs are and to try to call a play and try to anticipate what a defense is going to do to you. But Dickey is an experienced quarterback who should be able to handle that very well.
2nd and 6. Close to a first down is Jerry Ellis going up the middle. To see where they spot the ball. It'll be 3rd and inches or a first down, and we probably will have a measurement as Lyle Alzado, number 77, came in to make the play.
Jerry Ellis did a nice job really of picking his way through the offensive line that time and finding a little crack and hitting through it and making as much as he could possibly make in terms of yardage. It brings the ball either just shy, it is just a few inches shy of a first down.
So it'll be 3rd and 1, and now coming in for the Cleveland Browns, Marshall Harris is in the game. Franks comes out. Ron Cruz, number 93, a rookie. And with 3rd and 1, they're going to clog the middle, I'm sure. This is an important play with 11:10 remaining. The Packers would dearly love to maintain possession here. They're on their own 46. Ellis, first down. Just like one of those goal line plays, he went over the top, and Jerry Ellis keeps it going for the Packers. And the crowd, looking for a goal line stand in midfield, quiets down some more.
What brings to mind in a 3rd and 1 situation like that, when I was active as a player, when Bart Starr was, of course, on the other sideline with Green Bay, seemingly he always called the 3rd and 1 passing situation play against the Cleveland Browns, and it always worked in perfection. That time they elected to keep it on the ground, but they made their first down, and they want to keep this drive going.
I love those pass plays in that situation. They usually go for a touchdown. 1st and 10 at the 48, Kaufman and Ellis. Ellis cuts inside, and Ellis has close to a first down. He might be there. Jerry Ellis, who accelerated brilliantly. The free agent rookie from Missouri, who was dropped by the LA Rams and picked up smartly by the Packers, was tackled by Marshall Harris. He's short of a first down by a long yard and a half.
Ellis did a good job of running that play that time. Rutigliano seems to be a little bit worried about Ellis's running and Green Bay's ability to control the football right now. He'd like to give Brian Sapp another opportunity to get the ball moving back in the other direction.
2nd and 3. It's actually 2nd and a long 2. Fumble. Turdell Middleton had it and lost it, but smartly maintained possession, because that's the big thing. It'll be now 3rd and a couple. These are the games next week. Of course, the Packers are playing home against the Minnesota Vikings and other games involving clubs in their division. Minnesota, of course, is a divisional game. Chicago against Philadelphia, tough game for the Bears. Tampa Bay will go against the 49ers in San Francisco. Greg Cook, number 68, who defended Bart Starr when they were all attacking him because he said a lot of anonymous people are criticizing the coach. Let him come out and say who they are. Limps off the field. And there's a replacement for Cook. 4 down linemen, 3rd and 3. Carl Swanke, 6th-round draft choice from Boston College, is in. 3rd and 3 for Lynn Dickey. Dickey loops it to Jerry Ellis. Ellis has a first down to the 35. Ellis still going and is driven out of bounds after picking up a first down and more at the 27-yard line. And Don Good, who was picked up in a trade from the San Diego Chargers, finally drove Ellis, who's made 2 key plays in this drive, Paul.
Len Dickey drops the ball over the outstretched hands of 58 Cliff Odom into number 31 Gary Ellis, and he does a fine job of broken field running, runs down the sideline before being brought out of bounds by number 50 Don Good. The Packers are on the march. They could put 7 points on the scoreboard right here. They would be in very good shape.
Bart Starr, in his 6 years coach of the Packers, apparently thrived on adversity. They lost Bruce Clark, Fred Van Appen. Van Appen, the defensive line coach, quit. The heat on Starr. Chester Marcole's controversy, but the Packers are looking better and better, and Atkins carries and is tripped up for no gain, and Henry Bradley, number 91, the nose tackle, makes the stop. So Atkins, number 32, second year from Maryland, came in for Ellis. Let's take a look at some scores of games of import in the NFL while we have a moment here. Jets leading Seattle in the 4th quarter. Jets won their first game last week, Seattle losing to the Browns. New Orleans looking for their first win of the year, leading Atlanta in the 3rd quarter. And Chicago shutting out Detroit in a shocker there. 2nd and 8 at the 25. And Middleton stacked up again. Robert L. Jackson, the linebacker, makes the stop. So it'll be 3rd down and a good 9 for Green Bay. Packers using up the clock, 7:50 to go in the 4th quarter, Paul.
An interesting situation, 3rd and 9. See what kind of approach Bart Starr and Len Dickey will take. Will they put the ball up in the air here, or will they go conservative, keep it on the ground, and just play for the 3-pointer?
Wilkinson, Alzado, Bradley, and Franks are the down 4 for the Browns on a 3rd and 9, and now Dickey wants a timeout. An inopportune moment to call a timeout. With 7.5 minutes to go, he uses up one of his 3 right here. So the Packers used a timeout. It is 3rd and 9 at the Cleveland 26-yard line, with the Packers leading at 14-13 with 7.5 minutes remaining in the ball game. Andre Thompson, 89 wide right. James Lofton, number 80 left, and Dickey with the play. That's his numbers today. Pretty good, aren't they? Dickey under a lot of pressure, up the middle to Lofton. Touchdown if he holds it. Does he hold it? He does. Touchdown. And James Lofton will throw the ball and get a fine, and he won't care. And James Lofton has made another superb catch, and the Packers have gone out in front by 7 points and can make it a very important 8 with the conversion here, Paul.
Well, the Browns came after Dickey with the blitz that time. Packer defenders picked up the blitz very nicely, and he looked for number 80, the guy that has come through for them time and time again. Here's the blitz, and there's Dickey looking left, and you know who he's going for. That man right there who come into your screen, number 80, James Lofton, going up high. Once again, simply too much of an athlete for number 49, Clinton Burrell, to handle.
A brilliant game for Lofton, and the point after is good, and the Packers with a big point now lead it 21-13. Dick Stockton and Paul Warfield back in Cleveland, and the Browns are trailing 21-13. James Lofton has caught 6 passes for 106 yards and 1 touchdown. He is off to his best start this year, and he is the key to the second half drive. Dino Hall at the 10-yard line. Hall barrels forward to the 31-yard line, and the Browns have to do some work now as Harlan Huckleby, the former Michigan running back star, makes the tackle. Dickey is 15 for 19 for 205 yards, 2 interceptions and 1 touchdown, and there's the drive. 80 yards in 10 plays.
Penalty refused.
They refuse the penalty on offside call, so the Browns will take it.
It's not a very bad return for Dino Hall. The ball is out right around the 30 yard line.
First down.
The Browns will have it just where they brought it back to the 31-yard line. 1st and 10, 7:13 to go in the game. Brian Sipe has been over to the sideline. James Lofton has made some big plays, and they have all been tough catches, Paul.
Tough catches, but he's the kind of athlete who can go up high and take the ball away from a defender. He's got great speed. You know, I'd hate to be in Clinton Burrell's spot out on that right corner trying to defend against him.
Calvin Hill and Mike Pruitt in the backfield. Brian Sipe is going to go to Calvin Hill, who has it. Calvin Hill down the sideline. He's still going. Calvin Hill, and they can't knock him out of bounds. Did he step out? I don't believe so. He did not step out. And Calvin Hill has brought the Browns to the 20-yard line inside. Well, what a play. 51 yards, Paul.
Really reliable. Calvin Hill, time and time again. Reggie Rucker and Calvin Hill, two experienced veterans. Brian Sipe will go to them in the clutch. Calvin shows that he still has the moves, does a bit of nifty running, gets as much yardage as he possibly can before thrown out of bounds.
And the biggest pass play of the season for the Cleveland Browns to a man who's done it, old Methuselah. Calvin Hill, 11 years out of Yale, and it's 1st and 10 for the Browns at the Packer 19. 7:02 to go. Green Bay is up 21-13. Sipe wants some more. He has Newsome all alone. Touchdown. Ozzie Newsome, and the Browns strike back quickly.
That was the trademark of Brian Sipe and the Cleveland Browns. They can strike quickly, and when they do, most often it's the turnover 82, Ozzie Newsome. Fans here in Cleveland are really loving it.
Two quick, big plays. The one to Calvin Hill and this one. He beat George Cumbie, the linebacker.
Ozzie Newsome running a flag pattern. Cumbie just cannot get up. Newsome, great speed, great mobility as a tight end. Score is now 19-21.
Cockcroft can bring the Browns to within one right here. And no one has departed Cleveland yet because we have a tremendous ball game. It took the Browns just 28 seconds to score the touchdown to bring them to within a point. And here's Don Cockcroft, who now is ahead of Bruce Gossett in 8th place in the all-time scoring list with 1,032 points. But more important, the Browns trail 21-20, and the Packers now with Under Thompson inside his 10 will receive the kickoff with under 7 minutes to go. A wild game, Paul.
Really is a wild game. The Packers have their onside kick team, James Lofton, and a few guys up front, but it's a deep kick.
Under Thompson, a former running back, is on the one and goes and runs it. And he did a good job because they had him trapped way back. He didn't get it to the 20. Clifton Odom, number 58, makes the tackle for the Browns.
Well, he did a good job of bringing the ball out. The Packers will get the ball right about on the 15-yard line. The Browns have them exactly where they want to. So now the defense must come through and stop them right here. Green Bay, of course, will be trying to utilize the clock, pick up first downs, and move the ball downfield.
They did it in 28 seconds. 2 plays, the 51-yard pass play to Calvin Hill, and then the 19-yard touchdown pass to Ozzie Newsome. And for Newsome, this is his first touchdown pass of the year. That's the drive. 1st and 10 at the 16 for the Packers, with Atkins 32, Middleton 34, the running backs. Dickey to the air, Lofton, and Lofton close to a first down, and that's what Green Bay has to do. Don't go into a shell, get the big chunk of yardage. Clinton Burrell makes the stop.
And while Green Bay has indicated that they're going to go to that man, number 80, James Lofton, the Browns have got to make an adjustment and give number 49, Clinton Burrell, some help. He simply cannot handle Lofton man-on-man in coverage.
Surprisingly enough, the Browns knew about Lofton's abilities, and we're going to watch him today, but in the second half, he's made some great catches.
He has made some great catches, but again, I must go back to the fact that I believe that it's a mismatch on that corner. Burrell simply cannot handle it.
First down at the 26-yard line. In motion is Paul Kaufman. The pitch goes to Turdell Middleton. Middleton gets a yard, that's all. And Henry Bradley from Alcorn in his second year makes the tackle. So this is where the Browns defense has to shut down Green Bay. And conversely, the Packers, with the lead and 6 minutes and 20 seconds to go, know that if they can chew the clock up and move the ball upfield, they'll put a lot of pressure on the Browns offense in the final moments.
Packers are also thinking about field position. If they can get near the 50-yard line, perhaps punt the ball, they'll put the Browns back on the other side of the field, deep in their own territory.
2nd and 9, play action. And Dickey fires it complete to Lofton as a first down. And a big play for the Packers. James Lofton, a first down of the 42 with Tom Darden defending on the play. And Lofton is having a brilliant afternoon, reminiscent of what Paul Warfield used to do.
Perhaps the biggest afternoon for him thus far this year. That time the Browns gave him a little more complicated coverage, but he showed me something. He slipped underneath the coverage, found the open spot in the zone, went up high, took the pass, and he's keeping this drive going.
8 receptions, 131 yards, and a touchdown for James Lofton. And the clock runs, 5:25 to go. 1st and 10 for the Packers on their own 42. Atkins. Maybe a yard, and Lyle Alzado was there for the stop. So now Dickey faced with 2nd and long.
Lyle Alzado, you can always depend on him to come up with a play. That time he fought off the block of left tackle number 76, Tim Stokes, did a good job and unassistedly brought the ball carrier down by himself.
Lynn Dickey is having a superb afternoon. He had a lot of the short passes in the first half, but has gone deep in the second. Great percentage for Lynn this afternoon. Under Thompson in motion. And Middleton is stopped by Robert L. Jackson. A big play by Robert L. Jackson for a loss. And it'll be 3rd and long for the Packers.
He's done it all year long.
Well, now at 3rd and 13, do you try for the first down? Do you try to risk an interception? Or do you try a flare pass? What would you do, Paul?
You got to put the ball up and you got to go for the first down in this situation. Looks like they got a favorable coverage. He'll be looking for
draw play. Middleton has a first down and a big play and a surprise play. And I'll tell you what, if he caught you by surprise, he caught the Browns by surprise.
I'll say he really caught the Browns defense by surprise. An excellent call by Dickey and the Green Bay staff. Caught everybody in the Browns secondary looking.
That's what I was talking about earlier. You got to run when they expect you to pass and pass when they expect you to run. And this had pass written all over it, and they give it to Middleton on a draw, and he just completely caught the Browns defense by surprise.
Well, it was a big play for the Green Bay Football Club, and they still have possession of this football, and they're doing exactly what they want to do, eat up the clock and yet move the ball downfield.
3 minutes and 12 seconds remaining in the game. 1st and 10 now at the 46 of Cleveland. Atkins holding on to the ball. Gets maybe 2 or 3 yards on the play. Charlie Hall pursuing on the play. But that uses up the clock. Under 3 minutes to go. The Browns have all of their timeouts, and Green Bay has 2. As you look at Zeke Bratkowski, Green Bay has 2 timeouts remaining, and they took one of them before the touchdown pass. Eddie Lee Ivory, number 40, replaces Turdell Middleton, who earned his keep with that great run on the draw. 2nd and 8 at the 44. And Ivory slipped. Eddie Lee slipped. Couldn't get anything going, and he stopped. May have lost a yard. It'll be 3rd down. We're approaching the 2-minute warning, and now, with 2 minutes and 10 seconds to go, the Browns call a timeout. And it's all right here, Paul Warfield, at Cleveland Stadium, where the Browns, anxious to get their hands on the ball because they're trailing by only a point, but the Packers controlling with 2:10 to go, 3rd and 7.
Could be a big play coming up in the ball game. Packers are in a bad spot at the field where it's awfully muddy, poor footing, and so Lynn Dickey is going to have to watch what he does.
Under Thompson wide right, James Lofton left, and Ivory slips again, but Eddie Lee Ivory gets close, about a yard short of a first down, and it'll be 4th down. And David Beverly comes up. He's short by about 2 yards, and Ron Bolton made the tackle. It'll be 4th down, and the 2-minute warning is upon us. So this is exactly what Paul Warfield was talking about. The Packers maintain possession. They have good field position, and if they can put that punt inside the 10, they've done their job. It is 4th down and 2 to go, and David Beverly will kick. Keith Wright is back, and I guess in a situation like this with the ball at the Cleveland 38-yard line, there's a final score. Cincinnati wins 14-0. There's always the possibility that Beverly could run with the ball, and it's something you got to be aware of, except that if he can put it out of bounds, I think that's the smarter play.
It would be the smarter play, but when you're going against a guy like Sipe, who's like Stabler, you know, anything can happen.
High kick, a good kick for the Packers. Fair catch called for by Wright at the 12-yard line, and that's just what Green Bay wanted.
Well, Beverly has done his job. Now it's up to the Green Bay defense to hold Brian Sipe and company. Brian Sipe has about 89 yards of real estate to make up to get the 6-pointer, and so it's all on the shoulders of the Green Bay defensive unit at this point.
1st and 10 at the 13-yard line. Brian Sipe, the surgeon, out here on the field. And you talk about what Stabler can do and what Sipe can do in situations like this.
Well, Sipe was in this situation numerous times last year. That's why they call the Browns the Cardiac Kids. It's no strange situation for this offensive club to be in.
Calvin Hill is in the lineup, and you know what that means. Possible pass receiver. And Sipe going up the middle of Calvin Hill. Complete, and a 1st down at the 27-yard line. And Mike Jolly, number 21, the rookie from Michigan, makes the tackle.
Well, again, Calvin Hill, he just does it time and time again. He's the old pro. He finds a spot in between the coverages. He reads coverages just like a quarterback, and he can find the opening, and he's tough to cover.
Less than a minute and a half to go. We'll follow the clock. And Sipe back again. Has some time. B. Rush will run himself to the 35 and slides short of a 1st down by a yard. Short of a 1st down, clock running as we have 1:14 to go, and the Browns may have used one of their timeouts. The clock has stopped, 1:14 to go. We're at the 37, and now they start the clock again. So it was an official's call for the positioning of the football. There you see the time. Mike Pruitt bursts forward to the 49. And I think the Packers thought pass right there.
That time, Brian Sipe skillfully called an off-tackle play to Mike Pruitt to pick up the necessary yardage for the 1st down. The big fullback came through. Now Brian is taking his time out, going over to talk over to Coach Sam Rutigliano.
Anderson and Douglas, the 2 linebackers, makes the stop. The ball is at the 48-yard line. Browns in their own territory, and all they're trying to do is get into field goal position for Don Cockcroft, who this afternoon has been successful at 41 and 43 yards. That's the story right in a nutshell. Green Bay trailing 10-0 at the half, and then 13-0 early in the 3rd, stormed back for 3 touchdowns before Brian Sipe hit Newsom with the score to bring the Browns to within a point. But the clock, 56 seconds, 2 timeouts to go. They are certainly within range if they can continue to move it. Seattle came from behind and beat the New York Jets 27-17, a final score.
Well, as I said before, Brian Sipe and his offensive unit, Dick, has been in this particular position many times before. Last year, winning 3 overtime ball games. It's no stranger to them. They feel very comfortable about it. It's just a matter of lining up and executing under circumstances that are a little bit different, but certainly not foreign to them.
56 seconds to go. 1st and 10 at the 48. Sipe. Up the middle, Calvin Hill has a 1st down and runs out of bounds to stop the clock at the 37-yard line. Make it the 36, 49 seconds to go. Calvin Hill.
All right, Sipe back again in the pocket. You know who he's looking for, Calvin Hill, right over the middle. Calvin catches the ball. Now watch him get out of bounds like an experienced veteran. He gets as much real estate as he can, but he doesn't have to expend the timeout. He stops the clock, and Cleveland can start operating again.
You didn't have to go to Yale to know that, but it helps. First and 10, 49 seconds to go. The Browns have one timeout remaining. One. Hill and Mike Pruitt in the backfield. Sipe looking for the yardage. Will run. Penalty marker down. If it's a clip, the Browns are in trouble. He has the first down, but if the Browns are guilty of clipping, that could really set him back. Mike Lewis makes the stop, and apparently it's against the Cleveland Browns, and this is a critical penalty against them, Paul.
It's a penalty that really comes at an inopportune time and hurts Brian Sipe right there. It looks like he's a little shaken up on the play, and so this could be a real problems for the Browns.
Tell you one thing, Sam Rutigliano wasn't looking ahead of the Pittsburgh game, using Sipe and running all over the place today. Let's pick it up.
'63 offense, holding, still first down.
All right, Cody Risen holding. And even though it's still first down, that's not the important thing. The down is not the story here. It's the yardage and the clock. 42 seconds to go. The ball now at the 46 of Green Bay. And right now they are not in field goal range.
Brian needs about a 15 to 20-yard pass to put him back into field goal range. He's going to have to put the ball up over into dangerous territory, which is up over the middle.
Sipe lets it go, and Logan comes in, incomplete. The ball hit the dirt before Logan could make the play, and so 8 seconds tick off. That's the time remaining. It'll be second down and 20 at the 46.
All right, Logan trying to make the catch. He just can't quite scoop it underneath. Number 22, Mark Lee, defending on the play. Brian Sipe feeling a little bit of pressure coming from the Green Bay defensive front that time. Had to step up into the pocket and get rid of the ball a little bit faster than he wanted to.
Second down. Browns at the Packers 46. Sipe with time. In trouble. And he lifts one in the air. Incomplete. The Packers are looking for an intentional grounding. They do not get it, but Ezra Johnson put immense pressure on Brian Sipe, and it'll be third down with 25 seconds to go. And watch Johnson, number 90, come from outside.
Sipe back in the pocket. He's looking for someone to throw. He can't find a receiver. Now he feels the pressure. Watch him start to move out. Ezra Johnson, number 90, doesn't quit. He keeps coming, and Brian amazingly gets the ball off. No infraction called, and so nothing lost on the particular down.
Greg Pruitt is in the game, and Calvin Hill goes out. Pruitt, number 34, in there, along with Mike, his brother, 43. 25 seconds to go. Check that. No relation there, except they play on the same team. Third down. And Sipe lets it go for Logan. And Logan has it, and Logan is going to go. It's touchdown Browns. Dave Logan scores. The Browns lead it. Amazing, amazing play.
Well, Brian Sipe is the kind of guy who can pull off miracles. He did it 3 times in overtime last year, and apparently he has done it again here this afternoon. Green Bay came with the all-out blitz that time, caught Logan, and made the big play.
Dave Logan went high. He is a superb athlete. The Cincinnati Reds wanted him to be a pitcher. The Kansas City Kings wanted him to be a basketball player. He's a football player.
There's the all-out blitz by Green Bay. Logan locates the ball, goes up over Mark Lee, and then outraces Lee, another Green Bay defender, number 24, and that's Johnny Gray to the end zone. Big play. Sipe does it again under pressure.
Point after touchdown is no good. It's off to the left. A bad snap from center. So the score is 26-21 in favor of the Browns. 16 seconds to go. But an amazing turn of events, because here it looked as if the Green Bay Packers had put enough pressure on Brian Sipe, and all the Browns were looking for was field position for Don Cockroft.
This NFL Films production has been brought to you by NFL Network. Watch the National Football League 24 hours a day on NFL Network.